Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. Lieutenant Dylan and NW.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run the Marin County podcast, a podcast about basketball here in lovely Marin County. We are sponsored by Encore Custom. Encore Custom, your custom solution for team and athletic apparel on the web and right here in Marin County in downtown San Rafael. This is season 2, episode 29. I am Duffy Ballard, and this is the penultimate episode of season 2. Dave, this morning, I'm phoning it in because we're nearly at the end of this fantastic season. We've had some amazing guests. We've had a lot of local guests that have sprinkled in Marin County basketball color. And then we've had some guests that have really broad, I would say even global appeal, like Professor Hollander and Chris Oliver of Basketball Immersion, the Supple Leopard, Kelly Starrett, Thad Levine, friend of the podcast, and now the co-host of his own podcast, Rosters to Rings, a really great podcast. He had PJ Tucker on there recently. So, Dave, this has been a really fun and interesting season of the Run TMC podcast. We do plan on coming back for a season 3. If you think you might want to be a collaborator or a sponsor or a guest, let us know. Reach out. The different ways to reach out to us are all in the show notes. Check us out there. So as we say, as I said, Dave, we're phoning it in for this one, for this intro, because we had a fantastic and wide-ranging interview with KNBR 680 personality Brian Murphy, also known as Murph, also known as Murph and Marcus, and before that, Murph and Mac. Dave, I'm going to come back before the interview and talk a little bit about my childhood experiences listening to KNBR. As a youngster, I spent many of my waking hours and even some of my sleeping hours listening to KNBR 680, the 5,000 watt AM radio station. But first, why don't you let me know what you're up to and talk a little bit about our guest, Brian Murphy. And then we also have a special treat. We're going to sprinkle in a call-in. Friend of the podcast called in to Murph and Marcus and had a segment that you've got to listen to believe. It was just off the charts good. So more to come. Dave, you're up.
Well played, Duff. And hello, Run TMC fam. Can't believe we're at our penultimate episode of season 2. Season 2 has flown by, just like the season. The old adage of parenting, the days are slow and the years are fast. It's kind of like podcasting. Can't believe here we are at the end of season 2. But we're going to wrap up the season with 2 phenomenal episodes. This one of our all-time faves. As Duffy said, we had the great Brian Murphy, Murph, and we had a plate of bacon. First of all, Duffy cooked some bacon for us, which was very nice. I didn't touch the bacon because my body's a temple, but it was there. And certainly had an impact on the proceedings. But beyond the bacon, Murph, you could tell from about 4 seconds into this interview, just sit back, relax, and just let Murph chat away. Similar to the Dan Dibley style, no coincidence that those guys have made a career out of being on the radio and sitting in front of a microphone and telling stories. Murph's memory is incredible, photographic. Just he'll throw out dates, names, colleges, batting averages, scoring averages, encyclopedic, and just such a fun guy to talk to. And really, before the interview and after, we were bantering and chatting, and we hit on music and politics and pop culture and more deep Mill Valley discussion. But really, this episode is a celebration and appreciation for Tam High School, which is one of the Marin County schools that probably has received short shrift from us over the course of our many episodes. Now, Murphy says we had 90-something episodes. I think we're in the 70s, but still, it's okay. But we do want to, in future seasons of this podcast celebrate all of the communities in Marin, all of the schools. And obviously, we've been pretty heavy on the Drake tip because Drake's sort of the mecca of Marin basketball going back. But every school has great stories, great teams, great personalities, and Tam is no exception. And one name that I can't remember if Murph dropped this name in our discussion, but it's someone who we've talked about a lot over all of our episodes. But I want to give a shout out to Jay DeMaestri, who actually I ran into at the Redwood Gym this past weekend. Jay is the head coach of the Redwood boys varsity. He's done an incredible job there. They're perennially a top team in the league and in the state. And Jay could play back in the day. He was a great player for Tam. He is involved in the Tam Sports Hall of Fame, which Brian Murphy and Daryl Rory are spearheading, and we talk about that in this episode. But just want to give a quick shout out to Jay. I think he does come up, but anyway, want to reiterate that Jay was a great player in his own right. We're all used to seeing him on the sidelines. This was a really fun discussion with Murph. I hope you all enjoy it. Agree with Duff also that the call-in that we are going to play for you from Murph's show on KNBR was great. A good friend of the podcast called in during the Warriors playoff run and kind of blew it away. And Murph said he got so many texts and calls from fans saying that this caller was incredible. So that's good and bad. Good because, we love him. Bad because his ego is going to go through the roof. Anyway, Duff, back to you. Can't thank you enough, Murph, for joining us. We love talking to you. Hope we can do it again in season 3 and beyond. Back to you, Duff.
Good call, Dave. And good shout out to Icon Coach DeMaestri. I've seen him a couple times this weekend at Redwood for this NBBA tournament. He was coaching the freshmen from a seat on the sideline and not his usual demonstrative self, but still getting a decisive victory. And then kind of lurking back in the bleachers while his assistants were coaching their varsity team. So he's just around. His presence is felt in that gym strongly, and his playing days have been remarked upon by many of our guests and legendary performances with Tam High. So good call out there, Dave. And as I had mentioned in my first phoning it in memo, just a quick memory as we're about to jump into this interview with Murph. KNBR, the 5,000 megawatt AM flamethrower. I really did grow up listening to the likes of Hank Greenwald. In particular, Greenwald was my favorite, calling the play-by-play for the Giants. And even though they were really horrible for much of the 1980s, that just made my existence. Existence sort of revolved around listening to Greenwald call those San Francisco Giants games, and slugger Jack Clark and Daryl Evans and Dwayne Kuiper and those guys. And the other personalities too. So long line of KNBR personalities, Frank and Mike in the morning, Dave Glass, Bill Stone. So I'm sure others of our generation, Dave, appreciate the memories from KNBR. And just one other thank you to KNBR from me personally, and that is in year 2000, my now wife and I, Angela, hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, and we did not have iPhones or iPods. We just had a very cheap transistor radio. We each had one. And for large sections of the trail, even into Oregon, the only station I could reliably get up in the mountains was KNBR 680. And I would listen to whatever was on KNBR 680. This was slightly before Murph's time, and Murph has taken on the mantle of the Razor and Mr. T and others, and has just continued to be a source of great entertainment to the Bay Area and beyond. And by the way, as we talk about in the interview, you can find KNBR on the web and now on the app. You don't have to listen in real time. You can go on the app, pick a show, listen to it. You can stream it in real time. So, man, technology is fun. So, Dave, we're going to jump into this celebrity call-in to Murph and Marcus, and then straight into the interview with Murph. Here we go.
Very good pull right there. You're listening to KNBR AM and KNBR FM San Francisco, the sports leader, a Cumulus media station. So we're going to do a little Warriors talk, then some Niner talk. Get ready for Mike Zagaris at 9:30. Listen, I coach in Marin County, and you meet great figures along the way. This guy calling in right here is my coach idol. It's Poser. He's in Fairfax. So if Poser wants to talk basketball, we're getting him on the air right now. Poser.
Coach.
Good morning, Coach. Yeah, what's up, Poser?
Coach, can you hear me?
I got
me okay?
loud and clear.
Yeah,
Coach, loud and clear.
Let's do it,
Man.
Coach.
So great to talk to you guys. I didn't call in to talk hoops. I called in to talk MCAL swimming titles, man. Congratulations to the family. That's incredible.
That's super nice, Tom. Now, Tom was, of course, give you a little background on Coach Tom. At Drake High School, formerly Drake High School, was not just a swimming and water polo star, but also a basketball star. How about that for a double dip? On land and in water.
Ooh,
He goes to UC Santa Barbara to play water polo, winds up walking onto the basketball team.
impressive.
That's my guy. I just bragged about you, buddy.
I appreciate you, man. Super nice. How you guys doing? Nice to talk to you today.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you, bud. And don't be a stranger. You can call anytime because I know your takes are going to be good. What do you think? There's Jimmy Butler slander going on?
Well, look, I just think Jimmy Butler's the perfect basketball player, and he's my favorite player in the NBA, and he does everything well. He does everything perfectly well, and I know there's a lot of drama around how he leaves places, which, I get. I understand it, but when you're teaching kids how to play basketball, the way he plays is just gorgeous. It's the jab steps, it's the power, it's the 2 feet in the paint, it's the distribution, it's the reverse pivots, it's attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line. And we all have our flaws. He's not super tall and he can't shoot super well. But if you're just talking about like how to teach people how to play basketball, you just show them clips of Jimmy Butler. And so, look, they lost, they struggled. But when your best player goes down, everybody has to do more. And then everybody looks a little bit worse than they are. But I can promise you nobody got worse. They just had to do more. And they're going against a really good basketball team. So, people are going to call in and they're upset. I'm not calling to say, they shouldn't be upset. I'm just calling to say what a beautiful team and a beautiful franchise. And our guy went down, man. When your guy goes down, you lose. That's just how it is.
Coach Tom, man, just a classic, perfect take from you. That's why you're my coaching idol, buddy, because ever since you and I were going head-to-head in 4th grade, St. Sebastian, Mount Carmel, and then on and on and on, and I appreciated what you loved about the game. Coach Tom and I share a love of Hakeem Olajuwon, right? Like, Tom,
Big time.
Don't you see some of the qualities that you're praising Jimmy Butler are some of the same qualities Hakeem had, right?
Oh, yeah. We work a lot on footwork and, try to watch tape of basketball players playing, but don't look at their hands, don't look at the rim. What I really like to do is show people clips of Steph not shooting the ball and not even touching the ball. Steph is at his most dangerous the moment he lets go of the ball because, the moment he passes the ball, Coach, he gets lower, not higher. But the defenders all get higher. They take a little breath, and he gets lower track start. Think Ricky Henderson, Dawn, right? It's the danger of doubling Steph is when you double him on the perimeter and he moves the ball to the corner, one of those defenders has to go pick up a rotation. And now there's a single defender on Steph, but they're out of position because they were just in a sort of sideways double team. And now he's sprinting to the opposite corner. So, Steph without the ball is more beautiful than Steph with the ball, in my opinion. And then Jimmy with the ball is how we should all be playing basketball. And there's a way to play. I think you and I agree. And there's a way to coach, by the way, Coach. I've seen you coach. I've never seen you coach baseball, but I understand you coach baseball the way you coach basketball, which is, we'll call it passion, right?
Yes.
Well, actually, Tom, I'll jump in there if we want to just go on a personal digression. It's funny, I talk to the kids all the time about how different I am when I coach basketball and baseball. Baseball, I preach nothing but zen, calm. We are very patient. We are they're two different games. Baseball is best played when you're calm, and basketball is best played. And of course, you have to have a measure of poise and calm when you play basketball, but it also requires a tremendous amount of energy and effort. You need to out-energy your opponent. You need to out-effort your opponent in basketball. And that means physically, like kinetically, physically, dive more, run faster, jump higher. Baseball, we breathe, and we always focus, right. and we turn the page. Marcus pitched in college, and his slogan in life is "Next pitch."
That's it.
So actually,
I quit.
I coach totally differently in the two sports.
Well, and I would argue in basketball, you actually want to play offense very slowly, unless you're cutting, of course, or fast breaking.
Yeah.
But on defense, you want to play with your hair on fire.
Yeah, mostly I'm talking about defense, and I like to think of myself for the kids as defensive coach. A much more, in fact, I'm lost on a half court offense. I can't coach a half court. I'm like Mick Cronin. So, but coach, I think you win on defense. How do you feel about Jimmy's defense?
I love it. And by the way, the dude fell out of the sky. How many days ago was that? That he fell out of the
February
sky?
8th. February 8th.
Have you ever fallen like that?
Oh, you're talking about the fall. You're talking about the Amen Thompson fall. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that doesn't just show up on the court. That means every day he's not like getting up shots. You can't even stretch when you fall like that. And by the way, it shakes your confidence. You want to go rebound. Remember the rebound he got to win that game after he came back? I couldn't believe his commitment to the sky to get that ball. After like 2 days prior, 4 days prior, whatever it was, he fell so hard. Yeah. Jimmy plays hard. And of course, you cannot be. We all talk about it, but you cannot be great. You want to be a great basketball player, you have to play as hard as you can, and you got to play D. The rest of it works itself out or it doesn't. But those two are sort of, required to be great basketball players.
Yeah, well, Coach, before we let you go, I got a question for you because I'm loving his breakdown of Jimmy Butler and those qualities. Do you see any of those qualities in a guy like Jonathan Kuminga?
Oh, we all love Kuminga because he's a super athlete, and from what I can tell, he's a really great guy. And I don't watch as much basketball as most people, so, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I like to coach it more than I like to watch it. But, I think the read on Kuminga is he just doesn't fit into a really complicated offense, right? He's not always in the right place at the right time. Sometimes he checks out a little bit. But from what I can tell, he's a great guy and he's a great basketball player, and he's got this huge future in front of him. There's a luxury to being coached by Kerr. You learn an incredible version of basketball. The downside is it's so exact. You have to be exactly where you have to be at all times. You have to fit into the system with Steph. So it removes his athletic opportunities. The AAU when Jonathan Kuminga wants to run and dunk and jump, and that's a beautiful version of basketball. It just doesn't really fit in with the Kerr version of basketball. So I got no criticism of Kuminga. I'm sure he's going to go somewhere else, and his career will flourish.
Hey, do you want to do a weekly hit with us, buddy?
I know.
Let's go, baby. Some in the studio with some coffee.
Love it, Coach.
This is why I love talking hoops with you, man. And by the way, I'm supposed to do that podcast with your buddies.
Oh, yeah, get in there. The Run TMC podcast, if I could shout them out.
Yeah.
Good guys. Duffy and Dave running a podcast, talking hoops. It's just you and I hanging around talking hoops, man. Super fun. Love talking to you guys. I appreciate you taking my call.
Poser, you're the best. Have a great weekend, bud.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys. Good luck. See ya.
That area is Coach Tom, a.k.a. Poser, a.k.a. just an outstanding conversation.
Yeah, throw that on the podcast page, Tony. That was a great interview.
He's like a guest. He was like a guest. Well, the guy, he's really intelligent. That's why he took the call. And he likes, he's a coach. He sees it through a coach. And everything he said about Jimmy, I completely agree with. We've touched on that at any number of times in the last 3 months about, man, have you watched him come to the jump stop? Have you watched him shoot the bounce pass? Have you watched him? And it's funny, Tom just brought up the part that this just doesn't fit the sports talk narrative, which is you lost your best guy. You're going up against a really good team. He fell from the sky and got hurt badly. It didn't work out, but he goes, it's a beautiful team. It's a beautiful organization. It's a beautiful opportunity to go next year. It's like everything he said was right on. It just doesn't fit sports talk radio.
That's the thing. It's not spicy enough for sports talk radio for First Take.
Hey, Poser, you're getting reviews. 408, what an amazing call. 925, Coach Tom is great. Have him on more often. There you go, Poser. So whenever you feel the need to call him. Once I saw him on the call list, I said, we're getting him on. Almost took up a whole segment.
I know.
All right. Can we even add to that, or should we get out and talk Niners?
It was a good one.
Get out and talk Niners?
Why not? Okay. What more is there to say, Murph?
All right, guys. It was a good Friday vibe because people were getting negative. You had Adonis Haslam calling out Jimmy. We had, who else? Stephen A. calling out Jimmy. We didn't even play Jay Williams calling out Jimmy. And Poser came in with some sensible talk there. And Jimmy, by the way, is talking about taking vacations with why don't we play that before we get out of here? The vacay cut about taking vacations with the team. This kind of fits. Actually, after that call from Poser, I'm thinking he might go on vacation with them.
Yeah,
here it is, right here. Check it out.
He hasn't.
We're joined by Brian Murphy, the legend, and a plate of bacon.
The bacon is here. I am here. And wow, guys,
I'm honored, truly honored, and especially honored that, you guys waited, 91 episodes to
Whatever.
put out the invite?
We wanted to warm up, Murph, to get
Was
filled up.
Dibs on three times?
Well, Dibs self-invites. I'm surprised he's not here.
Dibs is like Terry Gard and David Letterman, and I'm like,
Exactly.
I don't know, I'm just a guy. But no, great to be here. I love that you guys started this thing. I love it. We were just talking before the pod how Marin, there's a voracious audience, like an audience that wants to voraciously consume Marin sports content.
Yes.
And sadly, the IJ just doesn't have the resources right now.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I ran into Dave Albee at yesterday's Giants game, and it brought back, my kids were like, who's that? I'm like, who's that?
Oh.
Like, that's the guy. That's the man who would have written about you guys and for inches and inches, but now.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is, guys. So you guys are helping out.
We're helping out. We just had Dave on, and he was awesome. And we talked about that exact thing. He even brought up that, Joey Calcaterra and Darion Trammell, two Marin kids, were playing in the NCAA title game 2 years ago. And back in the day, the IJ, Dave would have been there.
He would have been
right.
there.
He would have been on a plane in Houston or wherever it was.
And his stories would have affected a whole generation of kids.
Exactly.
There would have been a whole bunch of kids who knew. I mean, hardo kids know that Trammell and Calcaterra were in the championship game.
Yeah.
But back then, it would have flooded the airwaves
Right.
the way I feel about the 82 Drake Pirates.
Exactly.
Like I was, I consumed everything about them. I didn't go to Drake, but I mean, because it was in there every day for us.
Totally.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we lament.
But here we are now in the modern world, and there's good and bad, right? So the good news is kids can still follow it. It's just a different way to follow it, right?
Yeah.
It's through social media. Anyway, if you can't tell, Brian Murphy is not afraid to be in front of a microphone. He is a legendary sports talk radio host. I've been listening to him for 20 plus years. But
Thank you.
let's do the quick bio. I have been. I've been listening to you since,
I appreciate that,
since you've
Dave.
been on. So Mill Valley kid, you moved to Mill Valley what year?
I was born at Marin General Hospital in September 5th, 1967. I was the third of three from a family. My parents met at Mountain View High School in the 1940s, so they're Bay Area.
Okay.
My dad was the son of a Navy man, though, so he had been around, but they settled at Moffett Field for his high school years.
Yep.
My mom was the daughter of Italian immigrants who came to San Francisco and then got a job down in the Sunnyvale, Mountain View area. So they met at high school. So a lot of Bay Area, tremendous Bay Area roots, especially on the Italian side. If anybody here listening knows anybody at St. Ignatius or Cardinal Newman, they know my cousins. They know the De Benedettis. In fact, my cousin Derek De Benedetti is the architect of the Cardinal Newman baseball dynasty. He's awesome, and he's running an incredible program up there. My cousin John De Benedetti coached St. Ignatius basketball, the Wildcats, for a couple years.
Of course. Yeah.
My cousin Mike De Benedetti played college baseball, or played at Gonzaga after a great career at SI. We're all over the place. So, but we are the Marin version, and we are the Murphys because my dad stole the name from my mom, the De Benedetti. And so my brother was born in 1957. They moved to Mill Valley in 1961 when my brother was 4. Then they had my sister Katie in 63, and then they had me in 67. Moved from Reed Street in 61 to East Blythedale in 63 with my sister. And then when I was born, to Enchanted Knolls in 67, where we had the house all the way up until 2022. And my mom drew her last breath in that house. So in Mill Valley since, what is it now, 60, I'm coming up on 65 years. My brother still lives in Mill Valley. I live in Mill Valley. My sister lives in Greenbrae. So we're local.
So you got the Marin roots. So the 4:30 wake up and drive into the city, it's a little bit shorter because the Mill Valley commute's a good one, right?
It's not bad, although we just 3 weeks ago moved to Daly City. KNBR did, but that's a topic for another day. But you know what?
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Net. By the time I'm in the elevator to work, it's only 3 minutes longer, believe it or not. Park Presidio and 19th are timed better than Lombard and Van Ness.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it's 3.6 miles longer, but actually only 3 minutes longer.
So where was the old office?
Battery. Well, I started on 55 Hawthorne in KNBR in 04.
Of course, 55 Hawthorne.
With the legends. That's when Gary and Ralph and Tom and everybody.
The Razor. Yep.
And then we moved to Battery and Broadway in 2015, and then we just 3 weeks ago moved to Daly City because it's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
We're going to get to that.
Brighter topics.
Okay. But you did sign an extension recently.
I did. Somehow, some way, they kept me for 4 more years. I don't know. I was like the last face. I don't know. The last.
You're like Jamie Moyer. You know
what?
Keeps.
It's funny you say that because my 13-year-old son was just eliminated from the 13-year-old All-Star tournament by a soft tossing lefty from Novato South.
Jamie Moyer-esque.
Yeah.
And I was saying in the crowd, I'm like, there's a reason why Jamie Moyer lasted 25 years in the bigs.
And here you are.
Soft tossing lefties rule the world.
Your words are soft tossing lefties. Okay, Tam High. We're going to get into Tam High. Murph.
Yeah, about time, because let's be honest, when I comb through the 90 plus episodes before you had me and Timo on and Daryl, that might be about it.
I know.
I'm going to say out of 90 plus episodes, Is that it?
Underrepresented.
Is it D. Rory, Timo, and I'm number 3?
Not fair. We're working on Evans.
Yeah, Coach Evans is
Oh,
on.
he'd
Yeah.
be fantastic.
There's
got a
another-
busy
Ralph, we
schedule.
got to get
He's got a
Ralph.
busy
We can
schedule.
go on. I'll give you a list.
Yeah, please, because we have some other Tam High luminaries that we want. But so class of 85?
85. And that's what I was telling you this right before we came on the air. So I work with nothing but babies now at KNBR. They're all kids. And they are blown away. And my party piece is my senior year was the last year in California without the 3-point line. These kids are they're like, oh, these guys from Hoosiers, guys from the Scrissetto. Who is this? Is this Normandale and Hickory High?
I know, seriously. You didn't even have indoor plumbing back then.
Yeah.
But it informs the way I see and coach the game. It's like, what are you guys doing chucking up these 3-pointers?
I know. Kids these days.
So yeah, that was my last year, class 85.
Okay. You were editor of the Tam News.
I was the
in high
news
school.
editor, not the editor-in-chief. The editor-in-chief was a man who lives not far from here, the great Kevin Mursky, more of a surfer than a hooper, but still a great guy. But I was the news editor.
Okay, news editor. So that started your journalism itch. You go to UCLA.
Yeah.
We're going to get into your UCLA. I want to talk UCLA hoops with you. Post-college, do you go right into journalism?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was just saying to Duffy that his brother had the career I dreamed of.
Yep.
All I ever wanted to be was a feature writer at Sports Illustrated. That's it. That was my only dream in life.
Yeah.
So when you say the journalism itch, it came naturally. So my dad was a attorney for the state of California. He was a man of letters. And so magazines, newspapers all over the house, reading all the time. Time, Newsweek, SI, Examiner, IJ, all that stuff. But the Thursdays that SI arrived was like the golden day. It was like this heavenly choir when you opened the mailbox and the new SI came out. So it was my dream. I never got there, but I did marry a girl who worked at Sports Illustrated. My lovely wife, Candace, was a reporter at SI. She knows this, I think.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to, it was a natural inclination that I was drawn to journalism. I just loved it. I wanted to tell those stories.
Yeah.
The stories I read by the legends in SI, Frank DeFord, Gary Smith, Curry Kirkpatrick, Dan Jenkins. These people walked on water. They were unbelievable. They were otherworldly creatures. And then to a lesser degree, the newspaper guys. Believe it or not, for a while I had a Major Jones to be a political journalist. I wanted to cover the White House. That was my big thing. When I wrote my essay to UCLA, I was like, I'm going to be the editor-in-chief of Time magazine. But then when I got to UCLA and I went to the Daily Bruin orientation meeting, I kind of went in thinking I could be, the main political guy or stuff, but I was heavy sports Jones too, obviously. Yeah. And they announced that the sports department had been decimated by graduation and there was a lot of openings. And in fact, they had a story that needed to be written that week on a cross-country runner. And they said, does anyone want to volunteer to write that story? And like 6 of us put our hands up. So they said, well, there's 6 of you. You got to write your names down. And we put them in a hat and they frickin' pulled my name.
Nice.
That was it. Without that, you got to get a break.
You'd be embedded somewhere, and
I'd be a Tehran. I'd be a tech bro in Palo Alto right now. But I wrote this story about this cross country runner named Polly Plummer. I was nervous as hell. It was the worst story. I've read it. It's so bad. It's so cliche ridden. I obviously didn't learn anything from the SI guys. And when I turned it in, they said, great, can you do another one? And I was like, oh my God. And they gave me a story about Kay Cockerell, who's a golfer who still lives in the area, who won the U.S. Amateur. And I wrote that one. And I found out earlier that if you get things in on time and you spell the names right, you can get another assignment.
Well, even for this interview, Murph showed up 10 minutes early.
Kids, are you listening?
If you're not why I knew I had to have the bacon ready 15 minutes early.
I feel like I have to eat bacon.
Go ahead, Murph.
I don't want to spit bacon.
It's going to sound great on the microphone.
We can wait until we're done, but we're going to be staring at the plate of bacon.
Good.
Yeah, it's a callback to episode 2. Sorry, Murph, you're episode 70-something. When Tom Poser and John Garnucci were staring at a plate of bacon as well.
If it's good enough for Poser, good enough for me.
Yes, we'll get to Tom Poser as well. All right, so you get into writing. You work for, these aren't in order, but I know you've written for the Chronicle, the LA Times, the SF Examiner.
That's
a blast
the
from the
afternoon
past.
days,
Santa Rosa Press Democrat, Yahoo Sports, and ESPN.com.
Yes.
Right? So you've had a long career as a writer. Now, were you writing game? Were you following, was it kind of day-to-day stuff, or was it think pieces like a Chris Ballard-ish?
You name it, I've done it. And most of it starts with high school sports. My big thing was when I was a junior at UCLA, one of the aggressive kids I worked with said, hey, the LA Times pays $50 to $75 if you cover a Friday night high school football game. You should do it. I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Nice.
So I went out to the San Fernando Valley, and this began my lifelong, well, not began, but really deepened my lifelong, unbelievable obsession with California high school sports. And so I showed up and they said, hey, we have assignments for Friday night. Meanwhile, I was missing all the parties at UCLA. borrowing a car from a buddy because I didn't have a car, and driving out to, you name the high school in the greater San Fernando Valley region or Conejo Valley, any of the Antelope Valley, you name it. And I would drive out there on Friday nights, and guys, back to the story. Did I file on time and get the score right?
Right.
And they were like, and dude, you would be amazed at how fast you rise up through the ranks.
Yeah.
And then so they actually offered me, after I filed like 6 or 7 of those in a row, and you would just get 3 paragraphs dash Brian Murphy at the end. Oh my God. I was like, I just took a rocket ship to the moon.
Famous. Yeah.
Oh my God. San Fernando 27, Sylmar 7. Jerome Casey ran for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns to lead Sylmar to its 2nd straight league victory.
Yeah.
Quarterback, Diego Smith also ran a ball, and one name from Sylmar, and that's it. 3 paragraphs dash Brian Murphy, cutting them out, sending them home to mom and dad. And Keats Drive in Mill Valley. And
That's awesome.
So then they offered me an internship, and that was my big break. I got an internship my junior year at the LA Times. So, and they just savagely beat me about the face and neck for this sucks, that sucks, this sucks, that sucks, rewrite it. Oh my God. Best thing, obviously, the
Good
best
for
thing,
you, right?
which preview of CYO basketball coaching. And so anyways, from there, came out of college and got the LA Times. I graduated like most graduates, like, what do I do now?
Right.
What do I do now?
English
I was
major?
like, well, English major, and was the sports editor of the Daily Bruin, which was an amazing, still waiting for the job to beat that. Traveling the country on the Daily Bruin's dime, following UCLA football and basketball, still waiting for the job to beat that one. But got out, and I was like, called the LA Times, like, so are you guys going to hire me? They're like, kind of doesn't work that way, pal. But they said, believe it or not, one of our high school writers might be leaving the market and moving somewhere. We may have an opening. Stay tuned. And it was I graduated in June of 89. In July of 89, they called. They said, he left. Send in your application. And I did. And in August of 89, I got hired. So I packed up my stuff and drove down to LA. Started my 2 years covering high school football. This is a long way of answering your question. All the way up, high schools from 89. I took a detour and lived in Ireland for a year. That's another story. Then came back to the Bay Area to live with my mom and dad because I knew I wanted to come back to the Bay eventually.
Yeah.
LA was fun. It was fun, but I wasn't going to live there permanently.
Right.
As we all know, you're gonna coming back here, right?
Right.
So so came back, thought I could walk into the Chronicle and become the Giants beat writer or the Niner beat writer. Just like, they were like, who are you? Get out of here. Called everywhere. The only job I could get was the Santa Rosa Press Democrat offered me a night shift from 7 to midnight processing the agate page. You guys know what the agate page is? It's back in the newspaper days when you got to that back page that had box scores,
Oh, yeah.
odds, and like horse racing handicaps.
Yes, of course.
And transactions.
Yes.
I would get that stuff off the wire and have to code it and send it to the back shop. That was my job.
So you were aware of all the waiver wire pickup.
Well, yeah. Try being the guy who runs the wrong horse handicap. This is the legendary story. I've told this story on the air about how you overcome adversity. Sonoma County Fair. You don't know how big a deal the horse races are until you run the wrong day's handicap. So I ran, I guess, the same handicap 2 days, which is the order of the horses who are running that day and the odds are.
Yeah.
I didn't know the railbirds were out there, man, because I ran the wrong one. And man, the Press Democrat got flooded with calls.
Oh, geez.
Because they all got to the Sonoma County Fair. There's like the fair is only a couple weeks a year or something.
Yeah.
It's their one chance to see the ponies, and they couldn't figure out the odds. They couldn't put their bet. So the sports editor called me in, chewed me, screamed, "How do you do?" He goes, "What do you have to say for yourself?" And I said, long pause, and I get, "Human error." And he goes, "Don't let it happen again. Get out of here." So,
Not much you can say to argue with
anyway,
that.
long story short, I eventually got. My biggest break was I got the 49er beat job in 1994 because Mark Fainaru-Wada left, Mike Silver left. These are icons who went on to bigger jobs.
Wrote books.
And
Wada wrote the book about bonds, right?
And
Yep.
Mike Silver went to Sports Illustrated and wrote all the cover stories.
Yeah.
And still, his son is now on the air, KNBR.
Yeah.
And I got the 49er job, and that was it. From 94 to 99, I covered the Niners. Then I made the big jump to San Francisco to cover the Oakland A's for 2 years. Then the Chronicle and Examiner merged, and we had a flood of money, .com 1.0, and they said, "We know you love golf." I said, "I do." And they said, "There's this guy, Tiger Woods. You want to follow him around?" I said, yeah. So for the next 4 years, I was pretty much on the Tiger Woods beat.
Remember when you were a golfer?
So
what year were you with the A's?
This was from the A's 99, 2000. I was there there was this guy named Michael Lewis who was hanging out. We're like, who's this guy? Why is he in the clubhouse?
I was an intern.
He's like Chris Ballard, just showing up and writing the think pieces. You know what I mean?
I was a media relations intern for the A's in 97.
Dude, we just missed you.
I know.
Yeah.
But I was hanging out with, and Bean would, I was the kid at the copier.
Yeah.
Kids, there was a thing called a photocopier. We have to photocopy things back in the day. But Bean would walk by and say, "Are you the Stanford kid?" Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, I always wanted to go to Stanford."
Yeah, well, he signed there.
He did.
In fact, there's we can go off the rails, but there's some Freudian analysis there as to why he behaves a certain, like he kind of was always trying to prove.
Totally.
Yeah.
You could tell. I mean, it was weird. Like I was just this intern.
No, he was like, Billy's awesome, and I love him. Billy, if you're listening, you're my guy. I love him. We're still friends to this day.
He's not listening, don't worry. But anyway.
But I think he always wanted to make sure everybody knew that he could have gone to Stanford, and so he was going to outsmart you.
It was a big deal to him. I love the origin story. Okay, so how do you get to this? You got this career writing, getting the odds wrong and the ruining bettors at the horse races.
How creating Bovada, somehow.
By the way, it's funny you say that. I screwed up as an intern. I put Joe Madden as a starting pitcher one time when he's a coach.
Oh yeah.
And
human error.
And the head of baseball information called me in his office.
Was it Mike Selleck?
Mike Selleck.
Yeah, the great Mike Selleck.
My boss,
Mike's
Mike
a pretty
Selleck.
chill guy.
Chill guy through those.
Yeah, through the glasses. The glasses will intimidate.
But he said, yeah, just so you know, Joe Madden's not a player.
He's the manager.
Yeah, he's a manager.
Well, back then he was a coach. Yeah.
And the sports writers were not happy with me, but it's okay. Okay, how did you become a KNBR icon?
Yeah, man. So, as you guys can tell, I have diarrhea of the mouth, right? I got in trouble a lot for talking in school. So Ralph and Tom, the legends who built KNBR.
Ralph Barbieri, Tom Tolbert.
Afternoon hosts would occasionally, Ralph liked to have writers on. Ralph was another man who fancied himself a man. He liked to talk with writers, Ty Hoffelit and stuff with writers. And he noticed my stories in the Chronicle at golf events, and Ralph liked to talk. So they started calling me as a guest from like the U.S. Open or the Masters or something else. I would just kind of pop on as a guest. We take the break, Murph, you send me the Chronicle, you said the Masters, what's going on there? And so I would come on, and I had no problem talking with them in a very relaxed manner. And they had me on a handful of times. I wasn't a regular, but I'd been on a couple of times. And it was February of 2004. I'm at Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles covering the LA Open. I get a call from Jen Violet, who was their producer, and she said, hey, I said, oh, you want me to come on from Riviera? And she goes, no. Something. She goes, Tom Tolbert back then was doing, do you guys remember Tommy on NBA on NBC in the spring of 2004 wearing the plaid suit?
Yes, totally.
That infuriated David Stern?
Yes.
Well, he was taking a lot. She goes, Tommy's going to take a lot of time off in the spring. She goes, can you come fill in with Ralph? Ralph will want you to come fill in. I said, fill in? I said, no, I mean, not only do I, I don't do radio. Radio's beneath me. You people are frauds. We're the literate ones.
Right.
And she said, that's too bad. It pays $400. And I said, what time do I need to be there?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Like back then, $400 for, I was like, this is amazing. $400. Are you kidding me? So I'll take $400 right now, Right. So I showed up on a spring afternoon with none experience. None. How do I turn this on? What are these headphones?
Yeah.
And they said, and I listened to Ralph talk from 3 to 7. And I just kind of nodded. And as soon as it ended, Ralph said, that was great. Can you come back and do some more? And I was like, sure. So it developed into this semi-regular gig where I sat in with Ralph. And I just kind of let him go.
Afternoon.
This is the spring of 2004.
Yeah.
And then one day in May of 2004, they said to me, Jen calls me. She goes, I said, oh, does Ralph need me again? She goes, yeah, just one twist. She goes, Ralph and Tom won't be there. She said, neither one. She goes, you have to host by yourself. I go, whoa.
Wow.
And then she's like, oh, one more twist. It's going to be, the Giants are playing the Reds in Cincinnati, so KNBR is going to Cincy at 3:05. We're kicking you over to 10:50. And I do 4 hours on KNBR 10:50 by myself.
Wow.
But the catch, that day, she had booked Quentin Tarantino as a guest. Quentin Tarantino was doing a media tour for Kill Bill. So I was on my first ever radio show interviewing Quentin Tarantino.
That's really cool.
So anyway, I just BS'd enough, and she told me that the big boss, Tony Salvador, who still lives here in Marin, God bless him, Tony, the man who built everything. He built KFOG, he built KNBR. Yep. She said, she goes, I got news for you. She goes, Tony likes you. I was like, really? I don't know. I'm not going to do radio. I'm a writer.
Right.
And then in September of 2004, I was at the Ryder Cup, where the U.S. was getting their head handed to them by Europe, the golden generation of Europe, the Lee Westwood, Colin Montgomery, Sergio Garcia. They were just never going to lose to the weak, fractured, characterless U.S. team that hated each other.
I remember that one.
And I was there covering that, and she called and she said, my editor at the Chronicle called and said, are you going to go to KNBR? I go, what do you mean I'm going to KNBR? She said, they just fired their morning show. It was a guy named John London. I said, no, I don't care. I'm not going.
Remember him.
And I got home from Ryder Cup, and Candace said, there's a message here from Bob Agnew. And they called me in, and they made me an offer. And then they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. My wife and I were trying to have kids, and I was traveling a lot. And this would get me off the road, and we decided to take a 2-year leap of faith. It was a 2-year contract. It was a leap of faith.
And that was
2004.
04.
September 2004.
Here we are, 2025, and the whole complexion of sports media, has changed dramatically. By the way, the snoring you hear in the background is not me or Duffy. It's Kenya.
She didn't like my story.
Yeah, she's riveted by you, Murph.
She's dreaming about bacon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I love a snore of a lab.
But
That's
anyway,
fantastic.
so the whole landscape has changed so materially, but you're still here.
Wow, this is amazing. I mean, we joke every day. I'm like, is the key car? How does a radio station have the lights on? How do we have
Yeah.
the lights on?
Yeah.
Insanely, there are people out there still listening, and obviously now they consume it in different ways.
Right. The app.
Stream. If I tell you that we had Chris Mullen on, but there's no way you listen to it because you're like, it's radio.
Yeah.
But
I'll
you
find
can
it.
go to the website and find it now. Yeah.
Well,
And then when you go to it, there will be an ad that you have to listen to.
Right.
That they charge money for. So
Well, you had our good friend Tom Poser on. Tom Poser called into your show,
great call.
and it was a great call. He was awesome. He was talking about Jimmy Butler and the Warriors, and he texted us and said, "Hey, I was just on Murph's show," and we said, "Okay, how do we listen to it?" And he sent us the link,
Yeah.
and we went to the link on YouTube.
Yeah. There it
And
is.
found it. So we were
And-
not sorry, Murph. We were not listening.
And
to
there
you.
are still people in their car, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I do listen. And the one thing we have that's left in the dying days of new media is we're live and local,
Right.
you know, and Rafael Devers just played a weekend series for the Giants.
Yep.
And who's talking about it on your commute Monday morning, real time?
Exactly.
That's it. That's the need we fill in the market. There's a marketplace need for, oh my God, Rafi Devers is a Giant.
Right.
I was at that game yesterday, man. I want to talk about that
Right.
game.
Right.
I want to text it.
And that
Well, there we are.
That has not changed.
That has not, that forever we will have that. I
Yeah.
can't see a way that, even podcasts, as soon as we finish this, it's a little outdated, you know?
Totally.
Whereas when you're driving to work this morning and you wanted to talk about what Devers did in the 8th inning, we're talking about it and we're reacting. And then
Right.
they don't call as much anymore as they text.
Okay.
The old days, the 90s, the 00s, we still get calls, but we get
Yeah.
way more texts. People love
So when you
the
were
text lines, and it's a rich source of comedy and takes. Like textures are good.
That's great. So when you were growing up, would you listen to sports talk? Were you listening to KNBR?
Yeah.
Were you calling in?
Calling in took a great amount of courage and gumption. You find as you in this business, callers are a certain type. Have
Yeah.
either of you ever called a sports talk radio station?
I called Radnich one time when I
Okay.
was
And how'd it go?
when I was in college.
Did he
it-
blast you?
It was great because I was a practice player for the women's team at Stanford.
Oh
for
yeah,
Tar Vanderbilt.
nice.
And we had just played in the Final Four, and he was talking about it, and so I called in, and he was very gracious.
What
He
years
took
were
my
you at
answer.
Stanford?
I was 97.
What, you graduated in 97?
Graduated 97.
My lovely and talented wife was the Mercury News beat writer for that 97.
Yeah, I
Stanford
remember seeing her in the press
Yeah.
in the
she was
Candace
Candace
Murphy,
Putnam.
but
yeah,
yeah.
Murphy, yeah.
I
She got
remember.
married that spring when you guys went to the Final Four in Cincinnati.
Yes, exactly.
Then she left to come back and get married.
There you go. Yeah, we went to
Kate Starbird and the crew.
K Starber was my year. Yeah, good knowledge, good job. I remember your wife because I would go. You know me, I'm a total dork, so I would go after the game. We'd go in the locker room. Tara would give a speech, and then a couple players and Tara would go do the press conference, and I was always just tag along
There you were. There
and
she
go to the press
was.
conference. Yeah, it was fun. Awesome. Okay, we could talk to you for 5 hours, Murph, but we're gonna go back to let's give Tam High some love.
Well, it's about time.
We're gonna come back to KNBR and the state of
The
modern
second
media.
oldest high school in the county
Okay,
with an unbelievable heritage and history.
go.
Let's
Just
go.
go. Just
Let's
keep
go.
Which is why I'm going to get the plug in right away, which is why. So I've come back to town. I moved back in 2011.
Yeah.
Lived in San Francisco and Oakland from 90. I came back after Ireland in 93. So I lived in either San Francisco and or Oakland. We bought our house in Montclair in 04 from 93 to 2011. So I was gone for 18 years, but my parents were still there. My brother was still there. So I was there all the time. But in terms of living every day, I came back in 2011 and I was like, I got to straighten some, can we swear on this conference?
Yes.
I got to straighten some shit out around here. There's a lot of people here who don't know anything about this town or this school.
Yeah.
And not only that, a lot of them are leaving from Marin Catholic and Branson and SI. And what are we doing here? You know, this is the school of Sam
Full
Chapman
disclosure,
and
Murph,
Jody Maestri.
Duffy went to Marin Academy.
But
So
where's your
he's-
hometown?
He's not blaming.
Mill Valley.
You
I'm
were a
Mill
Mill Valley
Valley.
kid.
293 Molino.
Could have had 20 a game.
Royal Park.
Yeah, I
This
know.
is
Park.
sad.
That's
Okay.
where I honed my
Have some bacon, Murph.
childhood.
You guys are good guys, except for you're part of the problem.
I know.
So
Okay.
anyway.
Continue.
I just was like, I'm one of those guys. I'm like a history guy, you know, like I remember like what my party trick in third grade is I knew the presidents 15 seconds. Like I love history and I love stories and lore and all that stuff, and read all those books about baseball, basketball, and football growing up. And I feel the same way about Tam High, and I'd say a large portion of my view of Tam and everything came from my brother, who was 10 years older than me, which is a big difference.
Yeah.
Right? It's a big age difference.
Yes.
I found out at my dad's memorial, which was a festive affair with the Dixieland band and everything at the Outdoor Art Club. And
Nice.
my dad was a big party guy. He was like, we're not, he was one of those guys. I need a Dixieland band. I need cocktails.
Celebration.
It was great too. It was good. And one of our nosy neighbors, who I'd known through the years as just one of the nosy neighbors, said to me at the memorial, she goes, "Oh, Brian," my mom's name's Beatrice. She goes, "Oh, Brian, you were B's surprise." And I was like, okay, now I know. My brother and sister are older than me. So anyway, my brother was 10 years older than me, which is a big difference, right?
Yeah.
But he was an outstanding athlete.
Okay.
He was a first team all-league football player, played college football, was recruited by Cal and Notre Dame before they just moved on to other guys. He wound up playing Division III at Occidental, led the nation in scoring and touched his sophomore year in touchdowns. He was a fullback. He was a first team all-league basketball player. And we'll get into that.
Okay.
And he was an NCS qualifier in track, in the hurdles and the discus. He was an unbelievable athlete.
How big is he?
Kevin is just about my size, but way more athletic.
Okay.
But he was my idol. Oh my God. I'm 5'6", 7". So he's 15, 16, 17, and he's all over the IJ.
Yeah.
Murphy scores 21 to lead Tam. Murphy gains 106 yards, scores 2 touchdowns. Tam beats San Rafael. It's my brother.
Yeah.
And I could just tell. Like, I just knew that my brother had, as the kids would say today, aura.
Yeah.
He was the man.
This was mid-70s.
Yes, he graduated 75.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was the man. And I knew, here's an example of how he was the man. Kevin, if you're listening, he's going to be, my brother's way more quiet than I am. Because he's cool.
He's got aura.
He's got aura. He'd be like, dude, he's like, my brother just talks too much. But anyway, here's how I knew cool he was. When he was a sophomore, he had a girlfriend from Marin Catholic. When he was a junior, he had a girlfriend from Drake. And when he was a senior, he had a girlfriend from Redwood, which was a big statement.
Wow.
Because she had previously dated one of their top athletes. And so he was like kind of
all NCAL.
Exactly. Well done, Duff.
So anyway, I heard the stories back then, and this is a big deal. Marin City was a totally different community.
Yep.
It was a thriving, and we can get into the sociology of this here. So most of those families that moved for those World War II shipbuilding jobs in Sausalito, and we can talk about redlining and all that. It just gets a little deep here, but all of those black families settled in Marin City. And so you're talking about they're having their families now in the late 40s into the 50s. So those kids are going to TAM in the 60s and 70s.
Yep.
And there was a thriving community of Marin City athletes at Tam High. And my brother hung out with all those guys.
Yes.
So that was my reference point. It was like, my brother's one of the cool guys.
Right.
He's with all those guys who are just shredding on the basketball court and on the football field and on the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
Black kids playing baseball. Clifford Hall, who's going into our Tam High Hall of Fame. So
we had Daryl Rory.
Yeah, but Daryl's kind of the tail end of the
generations. That was later. That was 80s.
Yeah.
Right? That was Europe.
And now it's
Yeah.
Well, it's a whole other story. But anyway.
Yeah. But Daryl was a great baseball player, great 3-sport athlete.
He was. He was very good.
Yeah.
Now, Daryl, if you're listening, you were no Collier Hardy, but what do you I mean, so.
Daryl's not going to give you any calls if he refs your
Oh my God, he
now.
texts me 60 times a day during our KNBR show. He's got everything to say about every segment ever. Yeah. I could show you all the texts. Like, Daryl, sometimes I got to do the show.
Get back to work, Daryl.
So anyway, I loved the Tam Indians, and I knew the fight song, and I knew the colors, and I watched my mom and dad cheer my brother, and I was totally in. And my sister was a decent athlete. She played high school basketball and softball and track, and she wasn't like me. And then there was me. I came puttering along. My dad's big joke about my brother was my dad was a 6'3.5". He was a big guy, and he played football. He actually was recruited by Stanford briefly, but he chose not to go. And he was also a track athlete, but he was good. My dad was funny, and he was good. He ran in races against Bob Mathias and John Henry Johnson and all these great names. I put this in his obituary because my dad was a very funny guy. He said, I ran against Bob Mathias, but I had a perfect view of his back the entire way. So,
back to your brother just for a second, Murph.
Yeah.
So mid-70s, would he have played against the Chavez brothers at Drake at the time?
When I got my cheat sheet of questions for today, I was like, well, we're going to talk Eddie Joe. at some point.
Why not now?
I mean,
Why not now?
We talk Bucky a lot.
How much do you
we
guys
talk
talk?
Eddie Joe.
You guys must talk Chavez's every episode.
We had a running joke that every episode we got to drop Buck's name.
Well, we can keep. Well, Buck is the man, but for me, it's Eddie.
But
So
Eddie-
I have a funny
EJ was a
story,
little
and I'm
bit
going to
ahead of
steal
us.
on Kevin if you're listening, or
Yeah.
Kevin's probably not listening because he's very. Yeah, he might be. He's now a judge here in Marin County. You guys have any troubles? Call
Okay.
Judge Kevin.
Hopefully we'll never see him.
So the story he told me, and I hope I'm telling this right, Kevin. So my brother was really good, and he was a sophomore. He was starting for Tam, which is a big deal because he was playing with some really good players.
Yeah.
And Bernie Schneider was the coach, which we can get into at another time. And Eddie Joe was Eddie Joe. He was the man.
Yeah.
And my brother tells a story that the day before at practice, Bernie unveils the big plan because my brother was an athlete. He was quick, and he was tenacious, and he was strong. And he said, Kevin, my brother, he said, you got Eddie Joe tomorrow. So my brother said, you didn't sleep a wink all night, right?
Yeah.
He says, they come out. So the game starts. He goes, Eddie Joe scores 10 points right out of the just 10 points right out of the gate.
Yeah.
First quarter, Bernie calls timeout. Kevin says, they all sit down. They're all panting. And Bernie just gets in the squad. He looks around. He goes, okay, who wants Eddie Joe?
You have been relieved of your duty, Kevin. Hey, come on. Eddie Joe gave Magic Johnson buckets. And,
Hey, I mean, so can you guys confirm the story? I'm going with it. The old, who is it? The man who shot Liberty Valance, Jimmy
Yeah.
Stewart. When the legend supersedes the fact, print the legend, right? The story I heard about Eddie Joe, the 92
Dream
Olympic, they played him, right?
and scored.
And supposedly my brother, somebody told me that Jordan said after the game, they asked him about Panama, and he was like, what was Eddie Joe wearing? Like number 21 or something? He goes, well, I don't know about Panama, but number 21 can play. So that's the story I heard.
I heard that. I also heard after the game, Magic slapped Eddie Joe on the back and said, nice shooting or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
there we go.
So, I mean,
We're going with him.
That was 4-0 for Eddie Joe, US nothing right out of the
Was it?
I believe so.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's even better.
hit
I'm
some
going with
shots
that
early,
too. I'm
Yeah.
going with that too.
I think
Do you
there's
think
video
did
clip.
Chuck Daly call timeout and say, okay, who wants Eddie Joe?
Yeah, who wants Eddie Joe?
Yeah.
Where's Kevin? Exactly.
So anyway, so the Tam High Hall of Fame is our project. Getting back to the original
Tam High
digression here.
Sports Hall of Fame. That
Yeah,
you're
we don't
spearheading.
have one. We have the Marin one, obviously, right?
Of course.
Which is great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But we need our community to come together annually or biannually and tell the stories and be together and be under a roof and like restore the roar. Like these kids
Yeah.
these kids have no idea the grounds they're walking on. First of all, it's the most beautiful campus by a mile.
Right.
It's it's like a college campus. It's gorgeous. I defy it, other than any like Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton or
Yeah.
San Domenico. I'm talking about public high school. I don't think you can find a prettier public high school campus than
Beautiful.
Tam High. It's unbelievable. The sloping lawns and the clock towers and the arches, and it's gorgeous. It's like
Yeah.
a magical place, man. And so many luminaries have walked those hallways. The kids need to know these stories. Even if they're not going to listen, we need to get together and tell these stories. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
And Daryl's helping me. Ralph Wilson's helping me. Mike Evans is helping me. Tim Amix is helping me. We have Bob Costello, the water polo coach for years and years, helping. And October 11th, see you guys there.
Okay.
We'll be there.
And
Go put it in the show notes.
you guys can
All right.
get some good guests there, actually.
We'll just do a
Well, Will
live.
Garner's going into the first class.
Oh, cool.
He was, people say, the best basketball player in the history of the school. My brother talks about Will Garner like he was
What year was
72.
Will? Yeah.
That he's iconic, an iconic name in the Tam High circles. So anyway,
Awesome.
that was my
Who
long.
else is going in? Do we know?
So we did, yeah. So what we have so much to cover. So what do we do with those athletes Sam Chapman, Joe DeMaestri, all these guys through the
Yeah.
years, Connie Hetcher, all these, we decided that Eddie, if you're in the Marin Hall of Fame from 1970 or earlier, you're going in what we're calling our inaugural Legends class.
Okay.
That's how we're doing it.
Okay.
Now, a lot of those guys like Warren Domino, who played in the NFL, just died last Friday in here in the Bay Area. So we're losing some of them as we speak. So we got to do this ASAP. And then the 10 that are going in, then we voted 10 in. And it'll go from the oldest to the newest. From class of 72, Will Garner, the basketball legend that's considered the best basketball player to play there. Clifford Hall, who was a three-sport legend who was drafted by the Chicago Cubs, second round. Linda Broderick, who passed away. Branson, she taught at San Domenico. She won the state mile, only the second Marin girl ever to win a state championship. She won the state mile in 1976. Girl named Julie Lanzarin, basketball player, still holds the MCAL.
A teacher at Branson.
59 points in one game.
Oh,
59
Julie
points
could
in one
play.
game. Before the three.
Yeah.
Before the three.
She just texted me during the NCS playoffs. She lives way up north. Julie listens. Hi, Julie. She's great.
She's going in. Alicia Sweeney, who was Carmen Sweeney, was a great basketball. Alicia was, I think she's the first Marin girl to qualify for a state track meet in 3 different events. 3 different events.
Wow.
Incredible story there. Brian Price, the pitching manager for the Reds, the pitching coach for the Giants.
I didn't realize he was a Tam guy.
Oh, yeah. See, here we go.
1980 what?
1980.
Right.
Sam Schwartz was a year behind me. Stanford swimmer.
Yes.
Is a sophomore at Tam, finished 11th at the Olympic trials and was a national champion 1987 at Stanford was on an All-American relay team with Pablo Morales and won a national championship there. A water polo kid from the 90s named Blake Wellen who won 2 national championships at UCLA as a starter.
Yep.
And then all the way up to a kid from 2014 who's a pole vaulter named August Kiles, who's the only Marin kid, the only Tam kid who's still in the top 10 all time in state records for the pole vault. And he went to Princeton and won 3 Ivy League championships. So 2014. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you're doing it. Okay, so
Daryl Rory, you'll get there eventually, right?
No.
keep waiting, D.
Story I always like to tell everybody is like why we're doing this is. So Tam has a guy named Bill McCurdy. He graduated in 1933. He won the state mile championship at the LA Coliseum in 33, the year after the 32 LA games. He won the state mile championship, went to Stanford, was a great track star there. Then World War II, went to World War II, came out, went to Harvard Business School. And when he was there, told the Harvard track guy, I can help out because I'm a stud. And they eventually ingratiated him and he became the head Harvard track and field coach by 1950, stayed there for 35 years. When he retired, they named the Harvard track stadium after him. It's Bill McCurdy Stadium and Field. The frickin' field, the track stadium at Harvard is named after a Tam High guy. Yeah. These are the stories that are out there. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Right? And there's a lot like them.
Yes.
So,
we have
that's what we want to tell you. Cool.
Another one that we had, Murph, just so we get credit on our podcast. We had Alex Pribble, who was a coach and teacher at Tam.
And Aaron Pribble.
Well, Aaron still is.
Yeah.
Right.
And Aaron,
he's beloved.
Yes.
Beloved.
And Aaron, his brother.
Yeah. And thank you guys for having Tim Morgan on too. I love that.
Timmy was amazing.
As the kids call.
Timo sat right there.
He did.
Yeah.
That was in this room. Okay. Let's talk Tam hoops. This is a hoops podcast, Murph.
Okay.
I thought you would never ask.
Yeah, I know. Duffy. Duffy's reengaged. Okay, who are the greats? Who comes to mind?
Well, I mean, obviously it's been down for a while, right? Except for not that long ago, Tim Morgan had the program Revin.
Yes.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
Did they make 2 straight county finals and lose to Branson? Just one. Was it just one?
I can't remember.
But they made the playoffs almost every year with Timo, didn't they?
They were competitive.
Before this 6-team playoff nonsense?
Yeah. And then they also had a couple good NCS runs. I mean,
played that Moreau Catholic team,
the
buzzer that had Kenny Skywalker's kid.
Yeah.
So it's been down. Then obviously we can go all the way back to the 2000 state championship team.
Of course.
Which is, they're going into the Hall of Fame as the first team inducted.
Great.
I mean, obviously they had the 2 Dutch kids, right? So those aren't Mill Valley kids, right? So.
But still.
I don't know if you want to say that's different or what. They won this. They still had a lot of Mill Valley kids on that team too.
Yeah.
But so I grew up. So again, my brother's point of reference back then, the Will Garners of the world, the going back before that, Ed Chavez coaching the Connie Hetchers of the world, guys like that. Will Garner took Tam to the TOC in 1972, and that was considered peak Tam basketball. You know, the fact that they did that. But being honest. So when I got there, and the great and legendary Ethan Winterling, who we'll talk about when you get to my CYO coaching questions, he kicked our ass so hard that he took this program that had been down for so long. They had been to TOC in 72, and then I don't believe the MCAL didn't institute the playoffs until the mid-70s, right? Because it was the TOC up until about 73, 74, something like that. Then they instituted the 4-team playoffs. Well, it was my understanding, and I'm pretty sure Tam did not make the playoffs from 73 or whatever, all the way up to my senior year. We made the playoffs. And that was a huge freaking deal. And we beat San Rafael in overtime in the semifinals to earn a date with Pete Hayward's Drake Pirates. Can't believe we've gone this long without mentioning Pete Hayward's Drake Pirates.
So this is 85.
This is 85. So Mike was a freshman. Mike
Hayward.
This is obviously 3 years removed from the state championship. So they have no players left over from that.
Right.
But they still have an unbelievable nucleus that went undefeated in all those guys. And I still remember, so we had a boisterous student section back then, which was so great. And after we beat San Rafael, our student section, led by a bunch of my buddies who came to the games, this is how Tom Cruise 1985 is this. They wore blue jeans, shirts, ties, sport coats, and Varnays. That was the cheering section. They had to dress the same, right?
They had aura as well.
Yeah. And they were chanting, "We want Drake. We want Drake. We."
Now,
and
were you-
Ralph Chatoyan of the IJ wrote the story.
Yeah.
And he wrote, I'll never forget his closing lines because I read everything. He wrote, the students chanted boisterously, "We want Drake, we want Drake." And then his last line of the story was, "The students will get their wish on Friday."
Oh,
Like,
dear.
oh, dude.
All right. What happened?
Here we go.
44-29.
Oh, dear. Okay.
And I played like 2 minutes and I came in and I fouled Mitchell Pierce and that was it.
Mitchell Pierce could play.
Yeah.
Intentional?
And he beat me.
So, well, let's talk about Brian Murphy, the Tam High guard.
I was, believe me, I was a big man.
How t-
Because I was this height as a freshman.
So I know you have a face made for radio, Murph, but tell our listeners, how tall are you?
Well, now I've shrunk, but I was at 6'1.5" at my peak.
Okay, so you were
I was about 6 feet as a freshman, which is tall, you know? And so I was playing like center in a zone and then eventually forward because we
Okay.
got a couple other guys bigger than me. So kind of I was a slow-footed forward. I could shoot a little.
Okay.
That was my calling card. And as I know you guys saw in the CYO practice, tried to play with a maniacal intensity that would frighten bystanders.
Murphy is vocal on the sidelines stuff.
That would have been great. Like as the center of a zone, just yelling at your teammates. And
Well, I wasn't yelling as much as I was just playing with my eyes bugged out. So the story I always love to tell people is Natu Tuatagaloa. And he's been on.
Also a guest
Yeah.
on our pod.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So Natu's such a great guy. But at the time, Natu was the San Rafael star who was going to Cal to play football and then eventually to the NFL, right? Well, Junior Brian was not going to back down. Huh? So it's a Friday night playing San Rafael. I started as a junior. I lost my starting job as a senior to a good friend of mine, which still hurts to this day. But to be honest, he was a little better than me.
Good luck.
But anyway, there was a loose ball. And we live for loose balls,
Oh,
right?
boy.
We live for them.
But you versus Natu?
I dove. There's only 2 guys who dove for it.
Jesus.
Me and Natu. This is burned into my memory,
Yeah.
man. We're wrestling, and I'm not trying to let go. And he's bigger than I am, and he wrestles me to the ground. And we're lying on the ground. His chest is on my chest. His sweat is dripping in my face. I can see his brown eyes
Yeah.
and that dark hair
Yeah.
dripping. He says right in my face, he says, "Oh, I'm not going to say the F word on the podcast, but he said, I'll effing kill you." And I remember thinking, yes, you will.
You win.
Yes, you will. He did. He said, "I'm going to kill you." I was like, well, that's the intensity you need to get that loose ball.
That's how you get a 6-year NFL career.
I really wish we were videotaping this right now because the facial expressions we just saw really capture what that moment must have been.
I just worried about the microphone that Murph has. The slobber.
So anyway, I could shoot a little bit.
Okay.
My peak was my sophomore year. We had a good frost soft team because Collier Hardy was a freshman. They didn't call him up to varsity, and he was outstanding.
Yeah.
And I was at my peak of confident shooting. He won outstanding freshman. I won outstanding sophomore. We had the league title sewn up. We were going to get a frost soft banner for the gym, and we went to Marin Catholic. They were bad. And there was our season finale was there. It was on a Saturday morning for some reason. It was like a weird, like a makeup game or something. And it was the old gym. It was right before they tore it down for the new gym. The Freitas. Do you guys remember it had the old? No, you guys wouldn't remember.
We've heard tale of the seats up high.
It was like Hoosiers.
Yeah.
And it was like nobody in the gym, squeak of the sneakers, and we were just flat as a freaking pancake, and we lost. And we found out that Redwood with Gavin Newsom, my peer and compadre through all those years of baseball and basketball, that they won their finale and snuck past us on the last day.
It's gonna be all right.
No, because I don't have a banner hanging in the gym.
Yeah. Now,
And that's probably what got Gavin going, right? I mean,
Well, I always
that
I've
little
known
nudge
Gavin
of
since
confidence.
middle school baseball. He was on the Central Marin All-Stars. I was on the Southern Marin All-Stars. And back then he was slicking, he was gelling his hair. We're like, who's this guy? Because we were still going with the early 80s puffy hair, you know?
he was a decent hooper.
He was very good. I always feel like these people who talk about, the Fox News or whatever that wants to tear down Gavin.
Yeah.
He lied about his resume. He lies. He's a liar. He's a liar. I'm like, dude, I saw him play. He was really good.
Good player.
He was really good. And I think he might have made first team All-League his senior year.
I've heard he was good.
Yeah. He was a lefty. He was a really good baseball player too.
Okay.
He was legit.
Okay.
Annoying, right?
Daryl Rory as a basketball player.
Well, Daryl's Daryl's a little scorekeeper. Because Daryl was 3 years behind me. So like when I was frost off, he was our bookkeeper. He was like our little 7th grade bookkeeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't get to see Daryl play much because I was at UCLA.
Right.
So and it's not fair for me to evaluate Daryl.
Yeah.
I think he was pretty good, but I'll tell him this. I was doing research for the Tam Hall of Fame, and I was in the Marin Civic Center library. and I found the 1988 All-League team, which was a full-page spread in the IJ.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about we don't get these days,
Right.
with pictures.
Totally.
And a kid named Damu Armstead, shout out Damu Armstead, was first team All-League. Honorable mention was Daryl Roy. And I took a picture of it and just said, well, I mean, here it is. But
So we have a friend, Dave Deneen. I don't know if you know Dave Deneen. Dave Deneen went to Central High. He was a guest on our podcast. He's great. He's one of these guys. He's in his late 50s, and he'll every now and then randomly, Duff and I will get a text of a newspaper article, a picture of a newspaper article. It's like the All Metro Bay Area team from SF Examiner 1987, and he just has these things.
I need to meet Dave.
Oh, you and Dave Deneen will.
Because it's hard to find this stuff now. You know what the biggest tragedy in life is? The IJ is not really properly archived anywhere. You have to go on microfiche.
Microfiche. Oh my God, I remember doing that.
And you can't
at the Civic Center.
Yeah, and it's just a needle in a haystack. There's no guiding point to it. You can't type in a search word or date.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of know what you're looking for.
Right.
Give me 1986 March. Maybe I'll find the MCAL championship game.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They got to digitize that.
Yeah. So I didn't.
Okay. Your origin story in basketball, you're playing CYO. Who are the coaches?
Can you believe this? I didn't play CYO.
So what coaches when you think back, who had an impact on you as a basketball player? Maybe it was your high school
Ethan.
coach.
It was entirely. Okay. I am entirely a product of Ethan Winterling. My freshman year, we had a guy. So I played. I didn't play CYO. My dad I played Mill Valley Rec League. I don't know what I talked to my therapist about that.
Right.
I don't know why I didn't join Mount Carmel. It wasn't as big back then, and I kind of thought you had to go to Mount Carmel, which was a school back then. It was a thriving Catholic school back then.
Did you?
I was like, I go to middle school. I should play with my rec buddies at middle school.
Did you guys play pickup?
Yeah, all the time. I loved basketball. Loved it. Bernard King was my guy. The Warriors, the whole deal. I loved it. And all the college hoops, I followed college. I mean, I could take you through the NC2A Final Four from the time I came online.
Yeah.
Kind of the first one for me probably was Marquette, 77.
Jerome Whitehead.
All the way through, recently.
Right.
So, but yeah.
I'm with you, Murph. I didn't play any CYO growing up in Mill Valley, only Mill Valley Rec. My father coached team. We practiced like once a week. He had occasional games and then a lot of pickup, a lot of shooting around.
That's really interesting. Mill Valley was
I don't know why. My dad would suggest it to me, but I was like, I don't go to Mount Carmel. I go to middle school, and these are my buddies.
Yeah.
So, but it changes. But I was good enough to be one of the better freshmen.
Yeah.
Well, again, slow-footed. My big tragedy. Every time I love my boys so much. They're so wonderful. They're awesome, and they're great athletes and students and everything. But every time I hear their feet plump down a basketball court, I go, "There's Dad. There's Dad."
That's my fault. Yeah. I get it.
Conversely, my brother, his son Connor, who went to MC, another topic for another day, was just an incredible athlete and moved like the wind. So my dad's big joke was that he said, I passed on all my athletic ability to Kevin, unused for his enjoyment. That was his big joke.
All right.
So anyway, so I got to Tam, and I was I was decent enough freshman to play. And we had a coach named Norm Luna, who was just a guy. He's a nice guy. Anyway, Scott Madsen was our assistant, the legend Mad Dog. You guys are tight with Scotty, right? Yeah. And then everything changed sophomore year. Ethan Winterling took over the Frostsoft team. And Ethan was a TAM grad from 1974 who grew up with my brother and was the ultimate scrappy, hustling, frickin' and Ethan completely changed our ethos and our mindset. The guy, unbelievable coach, unbelievable. And here's the postscript. And coach, I know we hated him because he kicked our ass. Yeah. And I mean, we ran more than we've ever run. We played harder than we've ever played. And when we played harder, he told us we had to play harder. Right. And we had to be more physical. And we had to run beaten belts so many different times and knock guys to the ground and play. And so he put these handwritten signs all over the gym that eventually Tam made him take down. It was some sort of NCS violation. Huh. Well, the first one you saw when you walked in, it just said in his handwriting, play hard. The next one said beat and belt. The next one said patience, poise, and the 3 Ps, patience, poise, and don't panic. On and on and on, all the things Ethan taught us, and we became so much better. And that became that sophomore year when we should have won the league, and we blew that last game. Then, I guess, I didn't know this at the time, but I guess Bernie Schneider was planning to retire because he stepped aside, and my junior year, Ethan took over the varsity program, and we were instantly way better. Huh. And I started as a junior, and I thought, I'm the man, I'm the guy. But Ethan was also intense. By the time I got to my senior year, there was a guy behind me who was better. And all of a sudden, I got bumped to the bench, which really hurt. It really hurt.
Did you see that coming?
No, I didn't. I kind of thought I provided a value of intensity and shooting. I could shoot. We used to run a play for me, a little baseline pick, and I would square around, just shoot a little 12 to 15 foot from the baseline.
Yeah.
I make that thing freaking 70% of the time, So, but
How did coach communicate that to you?
not very well.
Okay.
In fact, I learned a lot of life lessons from that. Our assistant coach, Kevin Alexander, was a total opposite of Ethan. He was very calm, very chill. And I was so upset as I watched my senior year dream go up in smoke.
That's like Duffy when he's coaching.
And and he said to me, I said, what am I going to do? And he said this to me, I'll never forget, you have to be, because Ethan was, and Ethan, I love Ethan. Ethan lives in town. I see him all the time.
Yeah.
He's one of the most important people in my life, so I'm not dogging him at all. But he didn't communicate this at all to me. It was poorly handled by him, but he was young. He was 20,
Right.
was he 26, 27 years old? And all he wanted to do was win.
Yep.
And Kevin told me, he goes, you have to be a bigger man than he is. That's what he told me. I remember that. I was like, wow, I'm 17. He's telling me I have to be a bigger man than he is. But he knew that Ethan had quality. I wouldn't say immature, but he was intense, fiery.
Right.
Really fiery, and didn't have much room for, he didn't care. If I got beat baseline, and I'm going to tell you, that's what cost me my job, was getting beat baseline.
Yeah.
More often than not. We played a 2-3 matchup zone.
Okay.
And it was awesome.
So can't give up that baseline again.
No,
And you knew that at the time, or you knew that in retrospect?
In retrospect, but I mean, in retrospect, I knew that, I guess a little of both, because I could see myself getting beat baseline, but I still thought I had value. I also thought, because I'm a senior,
Right.
and it had happened to a teammate of mine. I'll leave his name out because I don't want to hurt him. But I loved him to death. And he started as a junior. By the time he was a senior, though, he lost his job. And I remember this big confrontation I had with the coach. And I said, same thing's happened as it happened with player X. And he was just like, didn't care. I hated him. But you know what, man? It's the classic case.
Yeah.
When you get older, you realize all the things he taught you. He completely dominates my basketball influence. And when I coach the kids, I literally am doing the same stuff Ethan did for us.
Yeah.
That's literally everything I'm doing, because it made us better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do it with maybe a little more warm fuzzy on the backside, a little more loving them up than just kind of, because they're middle school kids, they're not high school kids.
Yeah. Getting kids to compete, play hard, care, that's hard to do. Particularly, I mean, look, we're in Marin. It's a nice,
funny story, guys.
It's a comfortable.
Every elementary
world.
school in Mill Valley has a slogan. It's be kinder than necessary. That's the slogan.
Yeah.
It's on the old mill and the state sign when you come in. It's on the Edna McGuire. It's on Strawberry Park. And I literally have said to every one of the teams I've coached, I said, hey guys, when you go to school and you see that sign that says be kinder than necessary? Yeah. Not here. Not here.
Not on the court.
You're not going to get that rebound if you're kinder than necessary.
Yeah. You got to be an a-hole.
A fun anecdote, just real. Do you guys know about Harry Tappan, the Healdsburg High coach?
No.
Oh, man. Oh, Healdsburg High girls basketball, Lady Greyhounds. Legendary.
Okay.
Tiny high school. He was the guy. When I got the job at the Press Democrat, they were like, oh, you got to go talk to Harry. Be ready. He took the little tiny Healdsburg High Lady Greyhounds to 2 straight state championships and 12 straight league titles.
Wow.
He was an icon. And I just found out the other day, I had lost touch entirely. I just saw something on Twitter the other day that he died. I was like, so sad. I was like, I didn't know Harry Tappan had died. So I looked up his obituary. And in the obituary, do you guys know the Berkeley girls coach? I think his name's Gene Nakamura.
Yes, of course.
Nakamura is quoted in Harry Tappan's obit. And he said, he goes, man, coaching against Harry was something else. He goes, to this day, I'll never understand how he got his girls to play so dang hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, is that the ultimate obituary right there? Is that what every coach wants in their obituary? Harry Tappan went to the grave with Gene Nakamura saying, I'll never know how he got his girls to play so dang hard. The greatest compliment you could ever get. So Harry can go off in peace.
Another guy we talk about a lot on this podcast is our friend Mike Fulton.
Oh, yeah.
Right, whose brother Chris was on the 82 team. And Mike, I coached with Mike at San Domenico. Mike was an amazing coach, Hall of Fame coach. And I was his assistant for a couple of years at San Domenico. And I swear, almost every game, at the end of the game, the other coach, we're in the handshake line after the game, the other coach would say to Mike, how do you get your kids to play so hard?
Wow.
I heard 8 times
what a compliment.
in a year. I mean,
That's
just every single time. It's like, man,
how does he?
Your kids play hard. And he just has this ability, this force of personality where he gets them to play hard, gets them to care. And it's
he cares about them. I think that is the
That's a great point.
Yeah, I think it's the force of personality, it's the energy that he exudes, but it's also they always knew. Well, I'm sure of this. They always knew that he really cared about them as people, and then the yelling would always be followed with a hug.
Yeah,
right. But it wasn't like I sometimes I can be really nice as a coach. Like I yell and I'm enthusiastic, but I can be really nice. And Mike wasn't always nice. I mean, Mike could be a total a-hole, but you're absolutely right. They know that he loves them.
Also depends the age. I think you can be an a-hole more with high school kids than with middle school, certainly elementary school kids.
Very true.
But no, that I try to make sure that the kids I coach know that I love them. I definitely am much more warm and fuzzy on the back end than Ethan was. And again, Ethan, I love you, buddy. I'm not dogging you at all.
Sorry.
But anyway, that was my influence.
No, that's awesome. What a great story. Yeah.
I forget where I heard this about Brad Stevens when he first took over the Celtics. Like he sat down with each player and sort of individually like dove into where they came from, what they were all about. And that even in a series of meetings, like he already had won them over because, he showed that he would care about them.
Well, I mean, it's a people business ultimately, right? It's a people business.
Kerr is an amazing people person.
Yeah.
It's a people business. And if you can create a team culture and a team atmosphere, then we can all play hard together. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. That's what Harry Toppin got from Gene Nakamura.
Okay, Murph, it's a people business. One of the most talented people I've ever met is a guy named Steve Lavin.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about UCLA hoops?
Well, can we start a whole new podcast?
We're in. This will be fun. So you're a UCLA grad.
Yeah.
So you're there 89. So that's like Don McLean year? Or no?
Pretty good knowledge. He came right after me.
Reggie.
I was there with Reggie.
Oh,
Reggie
Miller.
Reggie was my guy.
Okay.
So he was the star by far.
Yeah.
By far. Pooh Richardson would have been the secondary star
great.
coming from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The rest of them would have been probably it wasn't necessarily a banner time.
Walt Hazard, who was it?
Walt was our coach, yeah. And in fact, so my freshman year, we had just won the NIT when I entered.
Yeah.
And that was big controversy because what's UCLA doing winning the NIT?
Yeah.
What are you kidding me?
John Wooden won 10 NCAA titles there.
They put the NIT banner up,
Yeah.
and a year later they took it back.
Yeah.
They took it back.
Yeah.
So
John Wooden was just staring at it every time he was in the gym. What is that?
Yeah.
So we hit a little rough patch. Walt was a good guy, but he was not a great coach.
Right.
And so, but 87, we went to the tournament with Reggie and lost to Fennis Dembo and the Wyoming Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, Wyoming, of course.
But then they fired him and they fired Walt and then the nationwide search went out. They said, we're going to get Valvano. No.
Right.
We're going to get Krzyzewski. No. Denny Crum's coming back. No. What's now? Larry Brown's coming back. No.
Yeah.
And then they said they went to their sixth choice, a guy of Lebanese descent from West Virginia, who was up the road at Pepperdine saying everything's mighty fine at the dine. Jim Herrick. And he came in and people were like, this guy's our seventh choice.
Yeah.
And guess what? He won a national championship with Steve Lavin as his assistant
Lav
coach.
was his assistant. Yeah.
So he just recruited way better.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I don't know, maybe he bent a rule here and there, perhaps. I think he got caught at Rhode Island doing that. But hey, all I know is that all of a sudden Don McLean and other guy, Tracy McGrady.
Tracy Murray,
pardon me. Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
Tracy Murray out of Glendora High School, the leading scorer in California history.
Of course.
All of a sudden, just all of a sudden, these guys were coming to UCLA. And then obviously the O'Bannons, getting the O'Bannons from UNLV was a big deal.
Huge. And how interesting where we are today with NIL, and you look back on Ed O'Bannon.
He's the guy.
Ed O'Bannon was the first
He's
one.
He's like Kurt Flood in baseball.
Exactly. Yeah. First free agent. Like Ed O'Bannon was 30 years ahead of his time in terms of.
But that team, I was in the Kingdom when we won it in 95, and it was absolutely, one of the happiest days of my life. I had just absolute ecstasy. Because, you go to UCLA, and it's funny, I think back on it now, it seemed like forever when I got there in 85 that John Wooden, 75.
Right.
75. What is that, the 1800s?
That's 20 years ago.
You and I, like 10 years. Where were you in 2015, right? You guys were like, oh, that was yesterday, right? That was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Well, for us, it was like John Wooden. But, really, it was a blink of an eye from the time he had done it.
Yeah.
And I remember Al McGuire, who I loved, him saying, just as a broadcaster, and I got to meet him through sports media once. It was one of the most exciting. I was like, oh my God, I met Al McGuire. I remember saying UCLA will never win another national championship in the 20th century. There's too much pressure. So I remember when Herrick won that, I thought about that. I was like, man, he did it. Yeah. He did it. And then Ben Howland obviously took 3 straight Final Fours. But when I was there, the peak was my senior year. We were a decent team, and we qualified for the East Regional with Trevor Wilson. Do you guys remember Trevor Wilson?
Yes.
At Reseda High School. He was kind of our good guy, and Pooh.
Yeah.
And we were sent to the...
Is he a bruiser?
Yeah. 6'8", muscular guy.
Power
Yeah,
forward
good
guy.
call,
Good player.
good call.
Yeah.
And Kevin Walker, this 6'10" white
Shooter.
three-corner, three-point shooter.
Yep.
And Charles Rochelin, Air Canada, this kid, this dunker this wing guy. And anyway, when they sent us to the East Regional in Atlanta, and me and my buddy Tom Sullivan were the sports editors of the Bruin. We got flown to it. One of the most exciting things in my life, flying to Atlanta to cover a UCLA tournament at the Omni, and we beat, oh my God, Iowa State. We beat Johnny Orr in Iowa State.
Nice.
With Sam Mack,
That'll be right.
who was on that team, whose son, Sebastian Mack, was just on the UCLA team.
Oh, wow.
And he just transferred out just this last year. Seb Mack, I don't know if you followed the Bruins this past year.
Full circle. Not
Anyway, so Johnny Orr, remember he used to come out to the Tonight Show theme on Iowa State. Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
And we beat them. We got to the round of 32 and played North Carolina with Rick Fox and J.R. Reed. And we got knocked out. But it was so exciting. And then, so I just, I'm a lifer. I'm very proud of UCLA basketball. I always think like it's our heritage. Like I'm a part of that heritage.
So
I'm
what
not, but I am.
What are your thoughts on Mick Cronin?
I freaking love Mick. I love Mick because he's like Ethan.
Yeah.
He's like Ethan. He's crazy.
He's crazy.
And he has made in the entire time, other than like the peak of Ben Howland, UCLA teams have never played better defense than under Mick Cronin.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Lav, they were not playing great D under Lav. They were not. And Lav, I love you, buddy. He's a great guy, Marin icon, the whole deal. But they were not playing great defense. And they were not playing they certainly weren't playing great defense under Steve Alford. No way.
Yeah.
And you can just see the difference. So we're in games. I know he's just like Howland in a way. It's kind of like Howland 2.0 in the sense that we will out intensity everybody. We'll play better defense, but our half court offense is atrocious.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if whether that is. I heard somebody recently. I think it was on Slapping Glass. Yeah, it was Kellen Sampson talking on Slapping Glass about rebounding in Houston. This is Kelvin Sampson's son, who's an assistant coach for Houston, right? And they're a great rebounding team. And the guys were saying, like, how do you coach that? He said, we don't coach it, we recruit it.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, when you look at guys like Howland and Cronin, I think they're recruiting the guys who are lockdown defenders. Whereas I think Lav got a bunch of great athletes.
Oh my God.
Great players, scorers.
Yeah.
But maybe the guys, and Lav, like if I grew up with Lav coaching me, he was all about defense. I mean, Lav is like a Gene Katie legacy of defense.
Yeah, his guys he didn't.
But I just don't think he had guys who were really bought in.
No, I think you're
on that end of the floor.
Right. I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
He had scorers. He had Baron Davis.
Right.
And guys like that. So yeah, you're right. I think you're onto something there. We don't coach it, we recruit it.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
And I think, also I listened, I believe on Slapping Glass, although it could have been Chris Oliver, because we listened to both.
Don't get this wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check. But Darren Savino, who's there.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about, they spent a lot of time on like the pressure defense concepts, like, how they're going to, if they're doubling, they're going to try and grab with two hands on the ball. And it's a lot of the details, not even schemes of all five. It's just like on the ball defense. And they spend a ton of time on it, he said. And of course, you can only spend so much time on
offense.
That's
an interesting.
right. There's only so much time to teach
that's
the
an
game.
Interesting take, and recruiting certain style of players too. Yeah,
those two things.
My friends get so upset. All my buddies, they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Dude, listen, we're winning.
Yeah,
and we're playing D. We're in this game. We're not gonna, we're gonna be in every game.
Right. Okay. Big Ten. Yay or nay?
Well, I mean, necessary evil.
Yeah.
The train was leaving the station, man.
Right.
I'm just kind of. I mean, I know it's mercenary, but I was just glad that we were on the train.
I'd rather that than the ACC, where
I just kind of knew that. I mean, when it happened, I was like, this is where it's going.
Yeah.
So we might as well be on the train. And am I happy about it? No, not at all.
Yeah, we all want the Pac-10.
And in my view, and I could be totally wrong, but when we're doing the 10-year anniversary of this podcast, when I come back here 10 years from now and we do our 10-year
episode 680,
it'll be turkey bacon.
That I think it'll all be settled. I think we're going to head towards like a massive, like sort of a 64 team with like regional brackets. Okay. That's my view. Certainly in football. Yeah. I think we can pull that off. Like I kind of envision a day when they decide, hey man, Big Ten, SEC, almost kind of like a merge, like an NFL type of thing, like an AFC and an NFC,
right?
And have West centrally. That's my vision.
Okay.
That's my vision.
I think that's conceivable.
But it's still going to be the Wild West for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years.
Right. Yep. Okay. Real quick, Coach Murphy, you're not shy on the sidelines.
We don't have to be quick, but don't hurry.
Nice callback. My sense for you, Coach, is you're talking a lot on the sidelines. So I saw you as an assistant coach for Mill Valley Middle. Shout out to Mill Valley Middle. And your team was great. And they were playing hard. Yeah. And you're coaching up everybody all the time, and you're talking through it. Talk about your coaching style, and then I'm interested in basketball Coach Murph versus baseball Coach Murph.
Well, I'm almost a little embarrassed when I talk about myself as a basketball coach, because I sort of assume like a different identity. But I shouldn't say I'm embarrassed. I think this is going to be hard to articulate. I'm trying to get everything I'm doing is to try to get them to play harder than the other team.
Right.
I truly, truly, truly believe that has to be our calling card. And we just talked about it with Nakamura. We just talked about it with, you guys were talking about it with Fulton.
Yes.
Fulton, yeah. It's my entire mantra.
Yeah.
Like I remember I had the seventh grade team I had recently, the 7B team. We were about to enter our first game of the season. We had a little chalk talk out on the blacktop at Tam. It was this December tournament we had at Tam. And I said, guys, we're about to start a season. We're going to win some games. We're going to lose some games.
Yeah.
I said, but I just want this. And I said, we need to make a pact with each other. This is 7B. I said, we need to make a pact with each other that we will always, always strive to be the tougher and stronger team. I said, this will carry you far in life. This will carry you far in a basketball game. And I said, but that has to be our mantra when we hit the court. I said, and if we lose, but I know that you guys played tougher and stronger, then man, we are going to frickin' Gots and getting milkshakes and having a ball, win or lose. And so much of that was informed to me by Ethan, Winter League, who just taught us play hard. If you think you're playing harder, you're not. Play harder. And if you think you're playing harder, you're not. Play harder. Like, energy, intensity, commitment to the moment is so much about defense, teamwork. I'm big on this. I have in my phone all these quotes along the way. I tell the kids all the time. Every single day, by the way, every single day, something happens in the sports world that teaches you something. SGA said something last night that'll help you as a coach. Rick Carlisle said something last night that'll help you as a coach. I'm always listening. Always listening.
To your point, so TJ McConnell is a great, said a couple weeks ago, right? Like playing hard is a skill.
Yeah, right.
And that was such a great quote, because they're like, you look at this guy, TJ McConnell is 5'10", he's not very athletic, but he's playing meaningful minutes in the NBA finals. He's changing games. It's just because he plays so freaking hard. Yeah. And he said in an interview, I think playing hard is a skill.
Even cliches like SGA said, I think about the hours and hours of the gym. I'm like, kids, you hear that? Or hours and hours in the gym. Or he said, I heard TJ McConnell say, or no, it wasn't, Alex Caruso say, I think about the downtimes, because there were a lot of downtimes, but it got in here. And I was thinking, did you hear that?
Right.
There's a lot of downtimes.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Alex Caruso standing there, he had downtimes. Yeah. He had tough times. He had times where it didn't go his way. And it wasn't, so these are all things. But I remember one of my biggest things is when Juan Toscano-Anderson came up for the Warriors and burst through and was like a sensation for a while. And everybody's like, who is this guy? Steph Curry goes, no, man, he's part of our team, man, has been since day one. And Steph said, everyone who wears a jersey matters. That's one of my all-time, I say it every season. I said, everyone who wears a jersey matters. Every one of you matters so much. Yeah. So I'm huge on team culture, huge on it. Like, it's more important to me than X's and O's. Like, we got to be together as a unit. We got to be together. We got to love each other. We got to play hard with each other. We're going to compete every day, and then we're going to love each other up, and then we're going to go back and we're going to compete again. But everybody matters. I tell the worst kids on the team in the 7B, you get some kids that aren't that good, right? Yeah. But you tell them, you know what, you might make the play that wins the game today.
Totally.
There's a good chance you're going to make the play that wins the game today. So basically, those are my philosophies. Now, as far as like my antics on the side,
well, that's all right.
I'm like Ethan. I took Ethan's instruction. Like, when Ethan was yelling at me, I was like, okay, I got to lock in. I got to lock in. I got to lock in.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, because I've heard it, almost every game we play, opposing parents and coaches say, get this freaking guy out of the gym. Get this guy out of the gym. I've heard it from every St. Sebastian, St. Anthony, you name it. I've heard it from every one of them. Yeah. And I say, well, and they like, oh, he yells at his kids. I'm like, they don't know what I feel about my kids. And I have learned the art of not giving a blank about what other people think of me as a coach. I said I was slightly embarrassed to talk to you guys about it, but I'm just kind of not, because I'm going to be the same way all the time.
Hey.
And I always say this because, like, and I think I can say this pretty confidently, that if every single kid I've ever coached, every single family I've ever coached, I'm pretty darn confident that if you guys are doing a podcast, they said that they would like to play for me. I bet they would say they'd like to play for me next year. I've never had a kid sort of, coach, this is too much. We're leaving.
Right.
Most of them want to be on our team because we care more together and we love each other too.
What? Kids want to be coached.
They do. So I learned that. Here's the last one. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Duffy, you learn things all along the way. Kindergarten.
Yeah.
I learned this in kindergarten. One of my kids' kindergarten teachers said, "Oh, here's what we're going to do every morning." She goes, "Because kids like structure. They like to, when they walk into kindergarten, they know they got to put their backpack in the cubby, and then we're going to have rug time, and then we're going to have graham crackers, and then we're going to have story time." She's like, I've learned that. And I was like, they like structure. So this is how we're going to structure our stuff. And they do respond to it.
Yeah.
They do.
For sure.
We've talked about this before on the podcast and just like, in our little coaching circle, so that you really, to be effective, you have to be the same guy or same gal as a coach with the same energy. You can't be like a complete madman one day and then sort of chill, you guys do your own thing the next. Like that, you lose the trust really quickly. So I can tell you're the same coach every day, every practice, every game.
I feel like breaking out some of my some of my stuff that I have every.
Murph's going to his
I'm
phone.
going to my phone here.
And you were on the air earlier today, right?
I was, yeah.
So you're the same guy now that you were like, 4 hours ago on the air.
I mean, the Wooden one, crushing losses, with John Wooden's definition of success, is peace of mind attained through knowing that you gave maximum effort and the best to which you were capable of being that day.
Yes.
And he says, you cannot do more than that. No one can.
Yeah.
And that's success. Now let's go get a milkshake.
On the pyramid of
I
success.
say, let's go to Squirrel. I have, here's a guy, one of the players said, I like the way I'm talking to myself. And I was like, I talked to the kids about that. You got to talk to yourself in a positive way. I got a positive way.
Self-talk, yeah.
I think this is from Drew. This is from Drew Holiday, but no, somebody liked that. He goes, I'm 6'1", so to be in this league. Oh, no, I think it's Gary Payton. I'm 6'1", so to be in this league for 12 years, you've got to find a way to have mental toughness. You have to come out with effort and play on the defensive end. You just have to find a way to impact the game without scoring sometimes. I have a Guy Santos quote.
Oh, nice.
I was watching the last couple games and said, okay, when I get in the game, I'm going to change the energy, Guy Santos said. Go in there and dive on the floor. If I've got to push somebody on the other team, if I've got to fight with somebody, I'll do it, but I'm going to change the energy on the floor.
And we saw him do that this season. Yeah. And in the playoffs.
I could go on and on and on, man. Here's Klay Thompson being a basketball player, doing things with great time. I said, here's a guy, one of the coaches said, passing is contagious. Every championship team passes the ball.
By the way, I use
Lindy Waters. I'm grateful for what I have, so I can't be greedy and have a bad attitude. I'm going to be the same person every day. Whatever my role is that day, I'll accept it, and I just want the team to win.
I'm not sure I'm convinced on Lindy.
Murph is big on the 12 to 15 slots on the Warriors roster. He likes those guys.
Don't make it bigger than it is. They need to feel you. The one I love telling kids is when Steph was a playoff game recently and he missed 2 free throws and had a big smile on his face. I forget which year it was. God, so many championship years. I forget. It might have been the Celtics year. And he had a huge smile on his face and then made the next one. And somebody asked him after the game, he said, why did you smile? And he said, because attitude can manifest everything.
That's great.
He knew he was going to make his next 99 too.
It helps when you have these shots. But anyway.
Progression to the mean.
Speaking of contagious, one that I like that I tell my kids all the time is calm is contagious.
Yeah, well, patience, poison, don't panic. We do that, but calm is contagious.
But like when teams press us.
What's funny about me? Yeah, that's right. That's when we calm is. I like
calm
that.
Is contagious.
I loved this one from Stan Van Gundy. Came on our show. Rebounding is your opportunity to compete for possession of the ball. Simple but effective. The one I took when we were going against a monster team, the guy from Florida, FDU, Farley Dickinson.
Yeah.
The more he said before, he says in that locker room before they go, he goes, the more I see Purdue, the more I think we can beat them.
Yeah,
and I was
right.
like, and he said that before the game. And it's like gave these kids. So when we're going up against a big nasty team, I'm like, hey man, the more I see them, the more I know we can beat them.
That was a huge. They beat Edie, right? That was the huge upset.
Right.
Man.
They were the 1 seed.
16-1.
We can go on and on.
Question for you.
That's awesome.
Murph, coaching.
Yeah.
I've tried this with teams where we press, and we want the guys to go as hard as they possibly can and like just burn yourself out 2 minutes at a time, quick rotations. I know CYO, you don't do it quite that way.
You can't do that, yeah.
But, we're like, give us the fist. And then if you give us the fist, you come out, you're going right back in. And you know how often they actually do that?
Never.
A couple times.
Oh, they do. I didn't want to.
But nowhere near where you would expect it.
Yeah.
So what are some other ways, like especially 7th grade level, that like in game, you can reward kids who are just going extra because you want them to go so hard
Yeah.
that they're tired, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that is true. Well, it is a little bit different for us because we do sort of have slotted substitutes,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
like 4
haven't had the
minutes at a
chance to coach
time,
high
yeah.
school where I would be coaching to win like that. That's an interesting thing. But mostly I think it would be the result of creating a culture where, if a kid does something like that or something, when he comes off the floor, man, I am loving him up so big and like, go get some water. You won that, man. What a fun. You did this. I get very excited for the kids. I get super excited for the kids and I'll be like pounding their chest and like, did you see what you did out there? So mostly it would just be like intense feedback is what I would give them.
That's great.
Big tousle of the head.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love it. I get so happy when they do well. I'm so pleased when they play hard. I always tell my kid played this 3-on-3 tournament when he was like in 3rd grade, and he was overmatched and played so freaking hard. His face turned purple and was diving for balls, and they lost. And I was just like, that was the greatest performance I will ever see from you. That was awesome. So great.
So great.
So
Love it.
it's the fun. I mean, that's the fun part. Anyway.
Yeah, man. Okay. Crunch time, Murph. This is the end, but don't worry, we're not near the end because knowing you and me and Duffy, we're going to be talking for a while.
Yeah.
But we do this kind of rapid fire.
Yeah, let's do it.
Favorite, this is a dumb question. Favorite gym in Marin?
Well, I saw this on the cheat sheet, and I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm like,
It's a trap.
well, I mean,
It's a bit of a trap.
Aside from Tam.
okay, well, there it is. But I mean, it is
No, you can-
truly.
no,
Gus Gym is
it-
my favorite because of the,
Talk about it. Why?
oh my God, just ripping history, right? Just ripping history. First of all, we have banners going back to 1915, you know what I mean? And that's part of that TAM. I love that it's small. I love our floor. I like our lights.
It's loud.
I think it's a good shooting gym. I love that they've dolled it up with some nice floor paint they didn't have when I was there, including Glenn Robinson Court. He's going in the Legends class, one of the great athletes, and his children are icons in Mill Valley. Marcus Robinson, the real estate king. You guys probably bought houses from him. Stacy Robinson, who was a year behind me, who just wrote a book on Tupac Shakur, and Curtis Robinson, who's a doctor in town. So, but if I had to play the game and
Wait. Also on the TAM gym, you got like the bleacher.
Yeah,
and
right?
and
Yes,
you've got the
it's
TAM
really
radio.
it's the only,
it's a great old gym.
TAM.
yeah, I hope you guys like it. You know what I mean?
TAM gym.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So that's my favorite. But if I have to play the game where I can't pick my home school, this is crazy. I'm like laughing that I'm going to say this because these guys are the mortal enemy for life, right? But I had the greatest moment of my basketball life in the Redwood High gym.
Yeah.
And the Redwood High gym to me is MCAL championship night.
It is.
And so even though I will swear for eternity to defeat Redwood at every possible opportunity,
Tom Poser, are you listening?
I'm going, he knows. And what's he doing?
He's a Drake guy.
He knows it too. He knows it. We talked about it.
Tom.
And he claims that when Charlie went in, shout out Charlie, great kid. When he claims that he went to T&B and bought he said, it was the hardest purchase of my life. I'm like, nah, you're all A. He's sold out to Redwood. But that is MCAL championship night.
I agree.
So it has to be Redwood because of the memories year after year after year.
It's really fun doing this. So we should do some data analytics on number of responses for each gym. But I'd say the most, maybe because we've had the most Drake people. Drake is typically the one that people say.
Timo say Drake.
You said Drake.
I don't like
Drake.
I get a dread. I get a pit in my stomach. I get a dread going.
It's a great gym.
It is a good gym, but I've had some
MC
bad
might be
memories.
number two.
MC,
MC's
of the
new
rim.
gym is really nice.
Players,
really nice.
really good players.
Yeah.
Typically say MC because the rims are soft.
Yeah.
And you know what? Kevin Vasquez, new coach.
Yeah.
He wants to tighten the rims.
Ooh.
He wants to tighten the rims because he's looked at the analytics and MC shot a lot better at home than on the road.
So I think this should be, there's a big ballot
Dude, watch
measure.
out for Vasquez.
There's a lot
MC,
of
watch out.
political wranglings about the lights at Marin Catholic on the football field. Like citizens of Greenbrae upset about this. They should have another political discussion, town hall meeting about tightening the rims at Marin Catholic. That's gonna be a
No love for the
controversial
old.
decision.
No love for the old TL gym. I'm kidding, guys. The new one's okay.
I love the lighting in that old TL gym, like rec league games. Like
hate
I don't know what it is about my
never played
eyesight, but
volunteer.
that rim.
When a Mill Valley
huge,
kid crosses
man.
north of a certain line in Marin, it gets weird.
Yeah.
Going up to Novato and San Marin, it seems like we're up in Petaluma and Santa Rosa.
Yeah, totally. I like the old San Rafael gym because I grew up in that
That's
gym.
a good one.
The doghouse.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's where, yeah, I'll give you guys a quick funny story from that one. So one of the more influential guys in my life, I should mention him, is Mike Hanley, was a part of the legendary Hanleys. His dad, Sailor Jack Hanley, was on the 1949 USF NIT champions for Pete Newell.
Oh, wow.
And he was a 5'8" son of Irish immigrants who grew up in San Francisco, lied about his age to join the Navy in World War II, came out and was their he was Pete Newell's designated fighter, Jack Hanley. Then he moved to Mill Valley to raise his kids and was like, he said he regretted. He's like, I thought Mill Valley was a blue collar town. I raised my kids, and it used to be back in the day. But anyway, Matt Hanley was one of my brother's best friends, class of '76, and Mike Hanley was the senior ahead of me in class of '84. I backed him up a lot in practice, and he used to beat me up. And he's the one who made me tougher. Like when I told my kids to play tough, Mike Hanley used to beat me, like savagely beat me. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he grabbed me by the jersey, pulled me in. He said, hey, you could cry about it or you can fight back. And shoved me to the ground. Right. Changed my basketball ethos forever.
Yeah.
He wound up playing football at UC Davis. He was a really good athlete. And he's 6'4", and we played at San Rafael. Joe Cap, the football coach at Cal, came to that game to recruit Natu. And by the way, the Natu thing happened in Gus Gym with me in the sweat and all that. I'll blank and kill you. But this was at San Rafael. And Mike Hanley wanted to play college football at Cal. He didn't get the nod. He played at UC Davis, which is a great D1 AA school.
Yeah.
Jim Sokor had a great program there. So Mike put on a show, neutralized Natu, probably outplayed him. Had a great game.
Yeah.
And I just like a puppy dog. I followed Mike around. I was a junior. He's a senior. He's wearing that 1983-84 jean jacket with the white sheepskin collar, you know?
Totally.
It's like from All the Right Moves, you know, Tom Cruise.
Right, a Vision Quest.
And he's walking out with his bag over his shoulder. I'm walking right behind him, and Joe Cap grabs him by the arm. I was right there for this. The gym was empty. We had showered and everything. And Joe Cap grabbed him and said, hey, son, I thought you played incredibly well tonight. That was really impressive. And Hanley shook off his elbow and goes, yeah, should have seen me in football season, coach, and walked out the gym.
Mic drop.
I was like, well, that was badass thing I've ever seen. That was in the San Rafael gym.
I love it. I love it. Okay, this is going to be a tough one. Top 5 all-time Marin basketball players.
I mean, that is so hard.
Just rattle off.
Okay, I mean,
your faves.
You can start with Dave and I.
Yeah.
Okay. I put a brief bit of thought into this. I have to put in my backcourt, I have to put Kolya Hardy, my teammate, Marin Athletic Foundation Hall of Famer, unbelievable point guard in his day.
Okay.
Incredible. And I have to put Eddie Joe in the backcourt too. So Eddie Joe and Kolya in the backcourt.
Beautiful.
Which is unbelievable. Now I got to go to the front court, and I got to say, I think I got to go all Tam.
Shocking. I'm just glad you didn't go with Tom Poser. Okay.
I got to go Will Garner, who I never got to see play, but my brother tells me he was the best basketball player ever from Tam.
Okay.
I got to go with my brother Kevin as a small forward.
Okay.
First team all league.
He's not guarding Eddie Joe. He's on the same team.
And you know who's my center? Jerry McIntosh.
Jerry. So I wanted to throw out a Jerry Mack, obviously a total legend, amazing human. Lost him way too soon.
He's going into the Tam Hall of Fame first class.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's rightfully
ask
so.
about that. Yeah.
Good. An amazing human. That's a good list. And
okay, so you want me to do my honorable mention of non-Tam guys?
Okay, yeah. Can you be?
Well, the guy I could never. I mean, I tried, but Mike Hayward has to go on there for me.
Yeah.
Dominated me. I think we got to go back to. I think in the old days, like Jerry Goff. You guys watch like Jerry Goff play basketball? Back in the see, I'm so much older than you guys.
I mean, so I saw Jerry Goff play baseball in the major leagues.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Well, you got to go to like some of these. How about anybody put Byron Stewart, Warren Coolidge from the White Shadow, San Rafael High?
Of course.
Nobody put him on there?
We talked about him with Brett Savani.
Okay, so Mike, obviously some of those 82 Drake, you got to put Kenilvort on there, right? You got to put Kenilvort on there.
Total legend. I mean, had a tryout with the Warriors, right?
I mean, those would be some of the names I would mention.
Those are great.
In my honorable mentions.
So not on the list,
Chris
but
Holden, Doug DeVore.
Chris Paul, that whole
guys.
Drake team was amazing.
And those guys were icons.
Don't forget.
Nobody's mentioned San Marin, Novato. I mean, there's a kid Darren Heyman who scored a lot of points in Novato.
Darren Heyman was amazing.
How about some girls?
Brooke Smith.
Yeah. Melissa King.
Karen Horsemeyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On and on. Carmen Sweeney at Tam.
Yeah. Yeah. Julie Landry.
Tressie Millender. Julie Landry.
Okay. How about some football players that you remember?
Oh, man. Well, Collier was a great football player, too, but...
Did you ever see Muster play?
Yeah, Brad Muster. Thank you for prompting me on that. He played in the early 80s. He was when I was a freshman. He was a senior, and he was an icon. He was a legend. So we mostly San Marin guys.
Yeah.
So when my brother was a great football player, the guy he shared co-player of the year honors with was Mike Morosky,
Oh, yeah.
who wound up going to UC Davis and then quarterback with the Niners.
Played in the NFL.
Threw a touchdown to Jerry Rice.
Of course.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is incredible, right? So Natu comes to
Yeah.
mind, San Rafael. Patrick Gordon was a Mill Valley kid who went to Marin Catholic, who wound up being a great football player there. I mean, so many of the MC kids of the last 20 years, obviously, from
Yeah,
Jerry
of
on
course.
down. Jared, pardon me.
Yeah.
But Jerry got football. I'm going to give Jerry his propers here in this one. Tam football's been down for a long, long time. We had a kid named Romeo Bandison who wound up playing at Oregon. Let's be honest, Marin's not a football county.
I know it's not.
It's not.
Aside from Marin Catholic and San Marin to some degree
Matt
recently.
LeBounty.
And this is not a football podcast.
I know. Sorry to go off the rails. Okay. Greatest caller in your show's history, and why is it Tom Poser?
Well, I tell you what, it's up there. He's up there. I mean, obviously, if anybody's a KNBR head, they remember the late, great Salty Balty.
Of course.
Yeah. He went by Baltimore Dave, then Salty Balty, then just Salty in Clovis. We lost him. He moved around.
Yeah.
So he's one of the all-time great callers. He was so angry. He was never happy with the teams. Never, ever, ever happy. And I remember in 2012 when the Dodgers traded for Hanley Ramirez and the Giants traded for Marco Scutaro.
Yeah.
Remember he called in, he goes, the Dodgers got Murderers Row and we got Scooter Row. And it was like, and look what happened. Guys won the World Series.
Won the World
Which goes to
Series.
show you sports talk colors. They're awesome, but don't go to them for
Amazing.
accuracy.
Yeah, no,
Lasting
Scutaro made
takes.
the difference, right?
Okay. Favorite, give me, it's probably hard to pick one, but give me a couple of your favorite interviews of all time. Maybe people who just surprised you and that were amazing, or you talked about like, you got to meet Al McGuire. And that was
But I
amazing.
never had him on the show, actually.
Yeah. But so
like this thing's at the top of my head. Like I immediately go to the icon, like guys who were so close to my heart that we
Yeah.
lost. The two that come to mind immediately that were just an absolute thrill to interview every time. Willie McCovey.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to understand how big he was in my childhood,
totally.
and then what a sweetheart he was.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, man, unbelievable. And Dwight Clark.
that's
Dwight Clark, who we lost ALS, and just the way the 49ers paid tribute to him.
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah, the catch.
Sure, the
And
catch,
we
yeah.
miss those two guys every day. Those two guys come to mind. In terms of like regular guys, like we have a thing with Jim Nance that's incredible. Nance is a regular on our show, and
Love
he's just
Nance.
fantastic. He's just pours syrup through your ears.
Hello, friends.
Yes, and he does it on every hit, and he gives us so much time and generosity. He gives us long, great takes. I mean, Paulie and I had a regular thing for years and years and years with one of the all-time great guys, Ronnie Lott,
Yeah.
who's just the warrior poet, the warrior poet, the toughest killer you've ever had, and the sweetest, biggest heart
Yeah.
you've ever had. I think when we used to go to Pebble Beach every year,
Yeah.
there used to be these regular hits that we loved. I'm going to shout out three guys who just stood out every year. It was awesome. Ray Romano from Everybody Loves Raymond would come and give his all. He would give us his energy, his effort, his time,
That's great.
and funny. He was
Yeah.
funny. Probably the coolest athlete who was the best athlete of all time, Kelly Slater.
Oh,
Kelly
yeah.
Slater's the kind of guy who some people think Kelly Slater's the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah.
Was it 15 world surfing titles or whatever?
Incredible.
And he's the kind of guy who would show up. He's the most famous surfer in the world. He's one of the greatest athletes in
Yeah.
the history of the world. He would show up for his appointed time, and we'd blown the clock and had some other interview going. And he'd be like, "No, I'm good. I'll wait. I'm good." I'd be like, he's like, 10 minutes? No, I'll get some coffee. I'm good. Like,
Oh,
that's
that's
Kelly Slater.
awesome.
And then he would come on and be like, "What's up, guys?" And just talk to us for a half hour. You know what I mean?
Now, is he a
We're
stick?
like, it's Kelly Slater.
Is he a
dude.
stick? Can he play golf?
Yes, he can. Yeah. And then the third guy I got to give credit to because he's just such a freaking icon. Mill Valley's own 2 a.m. club, Huey Lewis.
Oh.
And Huey would come on, and I was just thrilled. I was like, it's Huey. And he would do it every year. And so those guys every year going down there and knowing that we were going to have Huey, Ray Romano, Kelly Slater. But we could go on and on.
That's
about
awesome.
them, yeah.
Okay. Favorite Bay Area championship?
Man. The two that come to mind are firsts. The 1981 49ers. I was a freshman at Tam.
Yeah.
So I was a peak
Beat the Bengals.
Impressionable.
Super Bowl 16.
year.
Yeah.
And it's hard to describe for you guys. You guys are so young. What that did to the city and the Bay Area. It was unglued in Montana.
Yeah.
And Dwight and Ronnie.
I remember it. I was like 6 or 7 years old, but I remember
It was
That
unbelievable.
started me as a sports fan.
Yeah.
Dude, like that, that
I
Dallas
I still
game,
remember
The
the
scenes in the
yeah.
city. You go back and look at some of those pictures in the archives. The Chronicle
Yeah.
posts them. It'll never ever get sweeter than that, right? And then I was incredibly emotional over the 2010 Giants.
Yeah.
I was in Texas, and it moved me to tears. I thought about just my whole life was flashing before my eyes.
Yeah.
Like I'd become a father at that point in time.
'Cause that was the first Giants.
Yeah. Well, so the Warriors. I remember the '75 championship.
Right.
Strangely enough,
Right.
because I was kind of online because my brother and sister were older than me, so I was more online, like
Yeah.
watching All in the Family with the kids and with the family and all that. I was like more aware than most 7, 8-year-olds because I had older siblings.
Right.
So I remember the '75 championship. So 2015 was awesome, but I was like, oh yeah, just like '75.
Right. Right. It was.
We were like decades of just like a little bit of hope, and I mean squash.
Exactly.
And then finally,
So, but for me, my true emotions are 81 and 2010.
Love it.
Yeah, love
Great answer. Okay, let's go deep cut Mill Valley. Give me an old Mill Valley restaurant or retail location. Like my comps would be like Zim's in Greenbrae.
I'll give you
or
that.
Country Club Bowl.
Yes.
These places so that are no longer
Yeah.
there.
Well, I could walk you through downtown Mill Valley and tell you about 10 right now.
Okay, so what was
So,
like
well, I mean, right now, the one we still miss to this day
Yes.
is Sinapa Farms, right next to the movie theater. A classic old deli, classic old just eatery, nothing fancy. Now it's Playa. I like Playa, but let's be real.
Oh.
It's not Sinapa
So
Farms.
that location.
Yeah. I mean, and then down the corner, Goodman's, where you could buy
Yes.
baseball cards,
Yeah.
Bennett's Hardware, Bennett's variety store, where you could buy. My buddy Chris Phibbs, an Old Mill Valley Little League, and he's an Old Mill Valley. We do a scavenger hunt. I need scissors, Scotch tape, a pair of tube socks, and a pack of baseball cards. Go. And like, you can't get it in Mill Valley now, but we could do all of those when we were younger.
You go to Target and Santa
You go to
Fe.
Barney's Hardware
Yeah.
for the hammer and the scissors or whatever. You go to Goodman's or Bennett's for the baseball cards. You go to Mosier's Shoes for the socks, How about Jerry's Deli on Miller, which it used to be the post office and Jerry's Deli, where you could get these pierogies. It's now Whole Foods. Come on, bro. I mean, what are we doing here, right? Nunzio's Mobile on Miller and Camino Alto. When I was a kid, you could, for a quarter, they had an old-fashioned refrigerator a Coke machine where you pulled open the refrigerator and then pulled the bottle out of those horizontal slots, and it was an ice cold bottle of Coke for 25 cents. Nunzio's Mobile. Mobile was a mobile gas station right there where we used to park and wait on every other day, gas shortage days of 76, 77. You had to wait in line because it was a Tuesday you could get gas, By the way, shout out 2025.
Right, exactly.
And just for fun, Der Wiener Schnitzel was right across the street.
So that
from
right where Mixed Greens is now was a
mixed. So any number, I mean, like Strawbridge's stationery store down there.
All right, you passed the test, Murph.
Yeah, Old Mill Tavern down there too.
Old Mill Bakery. Do you have Old Mill Bakery?
I
used to work in Old Mill Bakery.
Get out of here. Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm going to go back to Lady Baltimore on Miller Avenue for donuts in the 70s. Yes.
So what, are there any places that have stood the test of time? Well, the Deuce.
La Ginestra in the 2 a.m. club.
Yeah, the Deuce.
Those are the two. And Mill Valley Market. Mill Valley Market.
Oh, right.
The Canapas are still there doing their thing, still owned by the Canapas family. That's
where Jerry Garcia used to go now.
Still, I mean, it's a little shishi. Like, my wife bought halibut there last night. She's like, do you know what I just paid for halibut at the Mill Valley Market? And I'm like, well, it's good.
Philipsburger too, right?
Yeah, Phyllis's is good, dude. Now it's called like Mama's Luncheonette or something.
Yeah,
it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But if I had to say that the flag planting, if you had to kind of survive, it's La Ginestra. And shout out to Tino and Sarah family that still owns it. They just lost Mom. Her funeral drew about 2,000 people to Mount Carmel last December.
Oh, wow.
But unbelievable. It was like, what can a restaurant? I was looking around. I was like, what can a restaurant do?
Yeah.
There's 2,000, there's generations of people here from somebody who just used to serve Italian food,
Yeah, it's amazing.
So La Ginestra, still there. Go there as much as you can. Go to the bar, get a cocktail, say hi to Jason, Tam High guy, Tendon Bar. Mill Valley Market, and then 2 a.m. Club, obviously. I told you, there was a rumor that it was getting sold or something. I said, I'm going to chain myself to the door. They're going to take me out with a tractor.
Right.
Well,
there's a great debate. I think we were talking to KK about this way back. The best dive bar in Marin. So you got the Deuce.
I mean, Peso, Deuce.
Peso, Matucci's.
I've never been. Matucci's is where?
San Anselmo.
I've never been.
Right past the hub there, yeah.
It's a divey. It's divey is.
Every town's got that. What do you think of Naves, no?
Amazing. Still cash only.
Yeah. So what do you take? The Deuce? I mean, Peso's pretty good, man.
So Peso is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Somebody just drove a car into the Peso.
Jeez.
I've read about that on
closed.
Store.
They're reopening though. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Marin Joe's. We didn't mention Marin Joe's.
Marin Joe's.
Closing right now, by the way.
I was just there last night.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
anyway, those would be mine.
That's great. Final question that we ask everybody, Murph. Favorite restaurant? Current.
Well, I hate to repeat. I kind of left the meat on the bone there. It's La G.
There we go.
It's La Ginestra.
La
'Cause, I mean,
Ginestra.
that's where I go to ground myself. That's where I know we can just we know we're home. Everything's cool.
Okay.
Everything's cool. We walk in, Lucia. You got to kiss Lucia smack her on the lips, get a big hug.
Okay.
Tino comes with a big strong handshake, and then
Well, so go to La Ginestra. Everybody drop Murphy's name. They are not a sponsor yet.
and obviously you got to go ravioli. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you got to order the XL Run TMC shirt then.
And then maybe a little side of bacon. I don't know.
we haven't even eaten bacon. Murph.
Sorry, guys, for going so long.
So
this
was amazing. Yeah. So kind of you.
We're gonna have you back.
Yeah, we will have you back. We had dibs on twice. We're gonna have you on twice.
Can I have some bacon now?
Please have some bacon.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, man. Really appreciate it.
It was awesome. I thank you guys for doing this, man. We need to stay together. It's like the Tam High. You got to keep the Marin vibe alive.
So a couple takeaways.
Congratulations to you guys.
Listen to Murph. What's your schedule?
6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
6 to 10.
You can stream us on YouTube.
Stream on YouTube, as I do. KNBR 680 and 104.5.
Well, or just download the app. Here we are. It's really easy. KNBR.
The app is cool.
Yeah,
the app
cool.
recently.
I like
if you
the
tap
app.
on it, there we are on your
That's good.
screen. Yeah.
Okay, that's one. 2, Tam High Sports Hall of Fame, October 11th.
At the Tam Valley Community Center, which wasn't our first choice, but it turns out, anyway, long story. We specifically chose the day Tam's playing Redwood in football.
Okay.
And our hope is to go out and introduce at halftime, have the guys come out to midfield and get introduced.
Okay.
And say everybody will see you there. By the way, I think we're gonna have a capacity issue.
Yeah. What time? What time on?
Well, it's gonna be right after the football game.
Okay.
After the Tam Valley football game.
Okay.
We were thinking about doing a different day, and Daryl goes, "No, man." He goes, "I want Deadwood."
Sounds like D. All right. Thanks, Murph. Appreciate you.
I have bacon in my mouth. Thank you guys so much. It was really nice.
Here we go,
Yeah.
Jordan. Have some
Good fun.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey, dude, you too must be from Marin."